You know, of all the things I didn't have ready, that sucks that the one thing I didn't have ready was the audio output for when I was actually live. Hello, everybody. Hope everyone's been having a great Monday. My God, why is this so zoomed in? Can I please, like, I guess this is gonna be my best bet. Hello, everybody. Hope everyone's been doing well. Let's see who we got in chat. Hi, Croa. Thank you for being here early, you bitch. Also, you know what I just realized? Why does it not recognize that because my full body turned off. Excellent. Thank you, Tundra Trackers, for being ever so reliable and such excellent I shouldn't talk shit. These are like fucking, these are not mass produced. Let's see. Hello, Seth. Hi, Pan. Seth, thank you for the 41 months. Hi, Felix. Hi, Raven. Hello, Mario. You virtual reality bunny. That's me. Okay, why is it still not? Where is it? Where's the option to turn on full body tracking? Where the fuck is it? Oh, right, because VRChat updated its UI and it sucks now. Thanks, VRChat. Always with the really good updates that are never problematic. Chatbox, comfort, tracking and IK. And it's just not there. Hope everyone's having a great Monday, though. Legacy IK, full body tracking. Okay, where's the full body tracking? No, I don't care about. Wow, do they really like just fuck this up that bad? No, this isn't like a tracker issue now. Okay, well now why are my trackers just not staying on? Don't tell me I need to. Okay, so this isn't a VRChat problem. This is a Steam problem, because I'm gonna give a hot take right off the bat.
Holy fuck, Scott the Wasp.
Steam fucking sucks, and they get away with anything bad that they do because they made good games like 30 years ago. Hold on, chat. I gotta recalibrate my fucking trackers. I gotta connect them. This is some horse shit, dude. Yeah, this looks great, doesn't it? This is what happens when you have everything set up, and then your fucking game just decides you're not ready. Oh, come the hell on, dude. Yeah, tech issues. Oh, awesome, it wants me to turn off one of my controllers. No, I will not. Dude, this shit's for the birds.
It looks like your controllers are already connected.
I don't care. If it says I want to connect more controllers, I'm connecting more controllers. I don't fucking care what you say.
It looks like your controllers are already...
Do not tell me I need to restart Steam VR. Do not tell me I have to restart fucking Steam VR. Once again, Valve gets away with making dog shit UI. Dude, I don't care if it says that my controllers... No, I want to... Oh my God, no. It looks like your controllers are already connected, trackers not connected. This is excellent. Sounds like one of your dongles may not be working. Oh, shit. Hold on. There we go. Wasn't plugged in all the way. Jesus Christ. You know, I just had that issue with my controllers not charging. Jesus Christ. I really do feel like fucking Snake right now. Jesus Christ. Yeah. Put a fucking sock in it, Valve. Yeah, doing the sorority squad. I'm doing the fucking trying to connect your shit so you can actually play the game that you spent money on. I'm doing the let's put the fork in the electrical outlet right now. Also, chat, how's the volume? That music sounds very loud in my ears, but it could be fine for y'all. All right. Let's see now. All right. Hooray! I am moving. I am in motion. All right. Hi, everybody. Hope everyone's been having a great, that is very loud in my ears, so I'm just going to turn that down a little bit more. There we go. That should be good. Okay. I was doing great, and now I'm just a little bit more peeved. But the cool thing is, I just got back the other day from Too Many Games 2025, and I had a fucking blast. I went with my good friend Crow the Orca Nova. Thank you, Squid. But yes, I went with my good friend Crow the Orca Nova. The Nintendo shit cube. Burr is burnt. Oh no, Pan, I hope you're okay. Hi, Fluffy. But yes, we had a really good time. We had a lot of fun. And I just want to talk about that for a little bit. And then afterwards, we're going to be doing I literally just got in the way of it. We're going to do some fucking tier lists. And it's going to be fun. Because I saw Happy Hoagie doing it, and it looked like a lot of fun, and I am out of original ideas, especially for VRChat. Do I have a synthesizer? Okay, can somebody, what's it called? Not mute. And I don't want to ban them. Can we put Squid in, like, a 2-minute timeout? Don't actually. Hi, Apollo. Oh, man. I'm sorry. No, you're not. No, the fuck you're not. Don't lie to me. Don't lie to my face. Oh, man. But yeah, I want to talk about some of the cool stuff that happened in Too Many Games, because a lot of cool stuff happened. So I arrived on Friday. I took the day off from work that day, mainly because I knew that I didn't want to do, like, even a half day at work. I just wanted to get up in the morning and go straight from the con. It's not that far from me. It was about 2 to 3 hours away, so it was a decently short drive. Sorry, I gotta get the hair away from my viewfinder. But yeah. Not too long of a drive. Thankfully, went without any issues. There was a small issue where I ran into a huge patch of fog, and it was just, like, barely visible. But it was okay. It was fine. I lived. Whatever. I always get punished not in the fun way. Yeah, because you do things that are worthy of a not fun punishment. Why does it feel like... You know what? I'm going to move the camera just a little bit. Because I seem to be looking a lot in this direction. So I'd rather it, like, not look like I'm just looking off to the side. You haven't unlocked that area, true. But yeah, so, I got there pretty early. Unfortunately, however, as they can confirm, Croa did not get to the convention, until that very night. And they missed registration. They basically missed the first whole day of the con are the words that I'm trying to say. It really sucked. But, they had work and they had some other things they needed to take care of before they left, which did suck. All right, Seth, you have a good sleep. But yeah, it sucked. I would have loved to have spent the first day with them, but I still had fun on my own. Mainly with the big thing being my first cosplay of the day. No. Yes. No? Did I cosplay on? I did. Yes, I did. Because I cosplayed in what I think was a niche stroke of genius. So if you guys are familiar with a series of animations known as the Brothers Mario, they're a series of animations made by an artist named Rude Jack Art. And if you haven't seen that one, you may have seen one of his other ones. He has one called Super Smash Bros. He just did one a little, like, maybe about a month ago, and it's mostly based on Earthbound. I think it's just called OK. He works really closely with A Fox in Space, if you guys are fans of that, which, if you haven't seen that project, you gotta check that out. If you're a Star Fox fan, even somewhat, A Fox in Space is such a cool project. Like, it is probably the most that Star Fox fans are going to eat in a long fucking time. Also, I hope that my audio is not, like, peaking too bad. But yeah, so mainly in the Brothers Mario and Super Smash Bros. Jack made, I call him Jack, but for all I know, it could be like my real name isn't Link. So for him, like, Jack could be a pseudonym. But Rude Jack made these designs of Mario and Luigi, but in more modern clothing. Like, instead of the overalls and the long shirts and the hats, what is it? Mario has, like, a red cardigan with a blue undershirt. They look very stereotypical Italian, and they look fucking great. They look awesome. I am in love with his Luigi design. He has a flat cap, he's a big bushy mustache, he has this nice brown jacket with a green button up underneath, and I felt like if I was going to be able to pull off either look, I felt like the Luigi was going to be much easier than the Mario. So naturally, I cosplayed as the Luigi. And I was mainly really excited to do this because on the first day, I had made it my goal to meet one of the many, many guest stars that I wanted to meet. And there were a ton of people there. In fact, there were people there that I thought it was cool they were there, but I wasn't going to make it a goal to meet them. The biggest one being John DiMaggio, because he was there. His line was constantly filled, though. Like, you want to talk about, like, lines being capped? His line was capped every day because he's Jake the dog, he's Bender, he's so many like fucking iconic characters from cartoons. Of course, he's in Gears of War, I think. So he's in a lot of iconic shit. Open neck with a chain. That's the Mario, yeah. But the first. I can't believe of all fucking songs they put on this mix. God fucking damn it. Anyway, of all the people I wanted to meet on the first day, the plan that I had made was I wanted... Oh, by the way, one thing I want to mention before I move on. I have now made it easier to clip because I have noticed that clipping has, like, my clip trafficking... or like my clip traffic in general has just kind of gone down, and I'm chalking that up to Twitch's really clunky UI, which I think most streamers would agree is just super messy right now. What I have done is I have added a command in chat, which is just !clip. So if you guys see a funny clippable moment, you no longer have to press the clip button, you just do !clip, and it'll clip the previous 30 seconds and then the following like 10 seconds, I believe. So if you guys want to do that, I would really appreciate it. Obviously, if you spam it, even if you're like someone doing it jokingly and it's like supposed to be a haha funny, a temp ban. I'm not even kidding, because you can clip anytime, but please keep in mind, I'm not trying to have my clips be just flooded with like nothing moments. If I or any of my moderators catch you doing it, it's going to start as a temp ban, and then it's going to extended ban. It's like if you abuse TTS. If you abuse anything in my chat that could be like something that you know could be, I don't want to say vulnerable, but susceptible to spam when it's just supposed to be a fun thing for everybody. Holy shit, the star, man. But yeah, if you don't behave, essentially, we ban you. It'll be a temp ban for like, you know, maybe an hour, extended ban for a couple of days, and if you do it a third time, permaban. And I'm not going to be afraid to do that. I'm sorry. I'm going to hold no punches because I like to look through my clips. I like to post those clips. I don't want to comb through nothing, right? I'm not good at behaving. Yeah, exactly. You got to follow the rules. It is literally a rule you agree to when you come into the chat. Thanks for plucking that Pikmin squid. But the cool thing was the person... Oh, you know what? Health check? I will take that health check. Thank you, Behemoth. So the cool thing on the Nintendo Shit Cube... The cool thing is on day one, the person I wanted to meet the most, who was doing an autograph signing, was Vinesauce. And Separiath wasn't there, unfortunately. Squid, what happened to behaving? But Vinesauce was there, and he was doing, actually, Vinny was doing meet and greets every single day, which was kind of crazy. He was there for, I think, about 2 hours every day, and then he had other panels that he was doing on some days. Like, I think on Saturday was the 15th anniversary of Vinesauce panel, where he was just kind of going over, like, everything... Squid, it gets tempting more and more each day to temp ban you and time you out. Don't test me. But yeah, so the really cool thing about was that Vinny was doing that. He was doing that every single day. It was only for, like I said, about I think 2 hours at a time. I wanted to get it out of the way. I wanted to do it on Friday. The one thing to note is that for a lot of these people that I wanted to meet, I had actually brought them gifts that I had made. And by that, I mean, I 3D printed a bunch of stuff. So for Vinny, I 3D printed a Vine Shroom, a 3D model of the Vine Shroom that I found online. And I have flesh-colored filament Is the Vsauce guy the ones that smashes balls together? Sometimes, occasionally. It's not the granddad one. It's the funny Italian guy. He's the weed whacker. But the cool thing is, I had flesh-colored filament, so I did, in fact, print his meat, which was really fucking stupid. But it was really funny because, so I actually was one of the last people in line, and that line moved fucking slow, and I found out why. It's because, and I will never understand why they put this at the end of the line and not the beginning of the line, was that at the end of the line, right before you met Vinny, you had the option to buy merch. Merch for Red Vox, his band, merch for Vinny himself. They had trading cards, they had pins, they had so much cool shit, including one thing I bought, which I will mention in a second. But I want to go on a tiny microsecond rant and say, why at the end of the line? Why not before you get online? Why couldn't that have been a thing where it's like, you know, before you get in, it's like, oh yeah, by the way, you have the option to buy merch. I understand if TMG just was not going to vibe with that and they were going to be like, you can't do that. That's a safety hazard because it's like in front of a line. I totally get that. It's just, fuck. It was so annoying because what wound up happening was a ton of people would get to the front of the line and be like, ooh, maybe I should buy some merchandise. I don't have anything for Vinny to sign, but now I do. It was really annoying. It was very annoying. I totally get why. I mean, I'm not angry per se. It's just, when you're waiting in line for an autograph from a very famous streamer, which you know the line is already going to take a long time, it becomes much more frustrating when you find out part of the reason why is that there is merch at the front. And that goes from making what should have been maybe an hour-long wait to a 2-hour-long wait. I had to wait for Vine Sauce for 2 hours. That was really, really annoying. Skill issue. Fuck off, Ezra. You didn't even go to the con. That's a skill issue. How you doing, Ezra? Hey, Ezra, when are you going to buy me Scott the Woz Monopoly? It's been sitting on my throne for like the past 2 months, I think. The little spin was cute. Just be a handler for the... Honestly, that would be fun. So I do actually have a notebook. Just jump over the line. So true, old days. How you doing, by the way? I actually do have a notebook. So, fun fact, years ago when I remember this, when I was 13 years old, I got this little, like, it's literally about this big, like this big. It is a Doctor Who, like, tiny little notebook. Like, I think this is probably about as accurate as its size is, like, maybe on its side. Like, I'm trying to something kind of like this. Why is my thumb? They fucked up the hands on VRChat so bad. Oh, that's so weird. Oh, that's weird. Why did they do it like that? Anyway, yeah, you're really cute, right? Nuh-uh. Oh my god, I just realized I unironically did a speed. But I do have a notebook, and I have it filled with autographs. I have it fucking, Tara Strong is in there, Ashley Ball. So, way back when I was a brony. Josh Scorcher is in there. Fuck, who else is in there? Just a ton of people. And now Vinny's in there. Vinny's in there and somebody else, but we'll get there when we get there. So I waited in line for like 2 hours. I think I got online at like 5 p.m. I didn't get out of line. Actually, no. Fuck, did it actually take like 3 hours? Was it 7 o'clock or was it 8 o'clock? Oh my god, I genuinely don't remember if I waited for 2 or 3 hours. Time just fucking forgot. Like, I just forgot time. I think I actually time traveled. The TARDIS was real. But I did buy something. It's not something I had Vinny sign, and you guys aren't going to be able to see it. Where did I put it? That's not a good sign when I say, where did I put it? Oh, you know what? I see it. It's over by my microphone. So I feel like as his name is Vine Sauce, it would make sense for Vinny to sell this, but he did in fact make the Vine Sauce. I bought a bottle of hot sauce that Vinny sells that is literally just called Vine Sauce's Hot Sauce. There were 2 bottles. There were 2 kinds of bottles. There was the regular green hot sauce and then the extra hot red hot sauce. I bought the green. I just wanted the green. I think it's funny. I think it's I think it was more fitting. I really wish they just called it the Vine sauce instead of like Vine sauce's hot sauce. I think just calling it the Vine sauce. I gotta do the thing to find where my fingers rest. What will you have in 3 hours? Gooner Giants will eat that up real. But yeah, it was 7. I just checked. Okay, so that was 2 hours. Yeah, that was 2 hours. That's fine. Look, it was a long wait, but I met some cool people along the way. Actually, one guy let me use his charger because I had a little Bluetooth speaker with me, and I wanted to play some like SM64 covers of songs because that's in a lot of those animations by Rude Jack, and my speaker was dead. So a guy let me borrow his speaker. There was a guy. This guy was a lot, but he was really cool. He was so fucking cool. He was dressed as Sans, but he had a white button-up shirt and green pants, and he did confirm he is supposed to be Sans Peter Griffin. But that's not all, because he was also wearing a backpack with one of those, like, displays on it, and what was constantly playing, it was between two things. It was Sans and Toriel doing the Shiggy Wiggy, and Asgore running over Des. And it was the fucking funniest thing of all time. And what I found out is that guy, I found that guy on the second day, and he was cosplaying. It was an amazing cosplay, and I wish I got a picture with him. But he was cosplaying Anton from Anton Blast, and he got a picture with AVGN. Really nice guy, and fucking, it was really funny because I found him on Twitter randomly, and the caption was, "New AVGN episode is gonna go fucking hard." It was so good. It was so good. Hi, Sasha. How you doing? But yeah. So I got to meet Vine Sauce. He was super cool. I bought the hot sauce. I didn't have him sign that. He signed my book. And it was funny because when I approached him, I was like, "Oh, I have this little 3D printed gift," and I gave him the Vine Shroom, and he was like, "Oh, thanks. It's really cool." And I was, I said, "Hey, would you mind?" And I'm reaching into my pocket. I'm like, "Hey, would you mind holding my meat?" And I hand him the fucking 3D printed meat, and he's like, "Oh yeah, do you want to take a picture with this?" And I'm like, "Abso-fucking-lutely." So there is now a photo of me dressed as Luigi with Vinny, and he's holding his meat like he's got a fucking trophy in hand, like he's accepted his fucking Oscar. And it's really, really funny. Nice meat, dude, exactly. But the funny thing is, he was almost gonna give it back to me, and I was like, no, that's yours to keep. And he was like, "Oh shit, thanks." He was really nice about it. He was super chill. It was awesome because I'm a huge Vine Sauce fan, and for like to give him something as like just like as a token of like appreciation from a fan. Just like, you know, sort of a thanks for being an awesome streamer, and just like, you know, I've been following you for a while and I think you're super funny. I just thought that was, I thought it would be nice. He seemed to really enjoy it. And yeah, that was my Friday basically. Croa eventually got there super late. They got there too late for, what was it? They got there too late for registration because I think they literally showed up the minute the convention closed, if not like 10 minutes. Yeah, exactly. I gave Vinny a token of my meat. But yeah, unfortunately, it just wasn't going to work out. It just didn't work out is the problem. We got dinner that night. We went to Chili's because there was a Chili's like 5 minutes away from the con, and you know, Chili's is fucking base. Please sponsor me. But that was my Friday. Friday was fun. I had fun on Friday. I got noticed a few times in cosplay, and I looked around, and the vendor hall was packed. That's the thing about Too Many Games is it's not like MFF or furry conventions, because those are basically... Would it be a hot take to say that those conventions are nothing more than just an excuse to see your friends? Because I feel like that's what 90% of people do at furry cons, is they just go... and they meet up with other, like, people they know, and they just kind of stick to them, and it's like, we use this as an excuse to all hang out in the same place. I mean, that's literally what I did. That is literally what I did. I like it. That's what we did at MFF. Dude, that's what I did at MFF. That's what I did at the past two. Like, I literally, I did that, and I went around to different places my friends wanted to, like arcades and shit like that. I'm sorry, I need a drink real quick. I'm gonna need to drink a lot more. I'll take a sip from my soda. I could drink soda every day. But that was Friday. Friday was fun. I enjoyed Friday a lot. I didn't attend. No, me neither. I attended one at MFF, or I attended 2 events at MFF 2023. I attended the VRChat meetup, and I attended the VTuber meetup. And those were fun. And then only the VRChat meetup returned. I don't know why the VTuber meetup didn't return, because that one was actually really cool, and that's where I met They Call 'Em Cake. You could see that in my stream VOD where I talked about MFF 2023. Hello, it's Go. God, it's Go. It's been a long fucking time. And I say it every time because it's always been a long fucking time. Lose my mind at the crowding, but also up to no good. Yeah, we did sit by that fountain. Yeah, we did. But yeah, so that was Friday. Saturday is when the fun happened, because that's when... You're really bad with timing, Seth. Saturday is when a lot of the fun started, because that's when Croa and I walked around to a bunch of different booths. Oh, I forgot to finish my thought. Because my thought was that, like, at most other conventions, or at least at Too Many Games, it is literally just like for vendors. It is vendors trying to sell either their custom-made stuff or their, like, stock of video games that they just want to get rid of. So... I don't know. That's just something I noticed. Like, obviously, the vendor halls at most conventions are huge, but, like, I feel like Too Many Games is mainly just for that. Ever think of that? Why? Why would you do that? As a serial killer, I retract my statement is insane. Excuse me. Usually napping when you're live. Hell yeah. I'm good. I just got back from Too Many Games and I'm just talking about it. It was so overwhelming for a bit, so much for the eyes. No! Did you miss the last stream, Raven? Fuck. Oh, man. But yes, you know, I just realized as well, I had the UI up this whole time, and I don't need it up, because we're mainly going to stick to this camera angle until we go over to the tier list. Saturday, though. Saturday, I did my second of my 2 cosplays. This time, I did a super niche character, and I was so fucking excited to do it. As y'all know, I love Earthbound. Earthbound was such a fun experience, despite me coining the phrase, "Can you tell this game was made by a copywriter?" That being said, I love the game so much, and one of the moments that I didn't realize people don't like, but I personally enjoyed, was the photographer. I thought the photographer was a super fun character and was a really cool way for everything to just come around full circle at the very end of the game and show you all the memories. Hi, Mezzer, I am being silly. Link the almost an RPG guy. True. But, one thing I wanted to do, or the second cosplay I did rather, was the photographer from Earthbound. It was intentionally kind of shit. I got a top hat that barely fit me. I wore the same pants I did when I cosplayed Luigi. I got a random suit jacket from my closet. I didn't even wear a full button-down shirt. I wore a white polo. And I got some cheap glasses, like fake, you know, the clear plastic glasses. And the big star of the show was a strap-on beard that did not look good in the fucking slightest. But when it all came together, I looked like the photographer from Earthbound. And then I forgot to bring a camera. So I actually had this really, really cool idea. I was going to take my real Polaroid film camera, which is sitting right there on my desk. Right there, right now. It's on my dresser. It's on my nightstand. And I bought a 24-pack of film. A shit ton of film cartridges. And I was going to bring that camera around and take real photos of real cosplayers and give it to them as a memento from the con. And I would sign the bottom of it with Fuzzy Pickles. It was going to be fun. Remember how I said the drive was 2 to 3 hours? A half hour into that drive, when I was on the highway, I realized I forgot it. And I was so upset. I was unironically, like, screaming because I had realized that I had forgotten the core part of my cosplay and something that was going to allow me to interact with a ton of people and have so much more fun at the con. So much more fun. Because this was going to be something where, as long as I got their permission, as long as I got their permission to do so, I could take a picture of them and give them the photo. Midwest moment, I would have turned around. I was only like, no, because I was really tempted to, and I was like, dude, I'm already expecting to be at the convention at 1 p.m. If I turn around, I'm wasting 30 minutes to go back home, then another 30 minutes to go back to where I was, and then another 2 hours to get to the fucking convention. By that point, I'll be lucky to get there by 3 p.m. I'm not wasting all that time for a small part of my cosplay. And this is where Croa being late saved that cosplay. Because I genuinely was considering not doing the cosplay anymore. I was like, well, it's not going to work without the camera. Because at that point, I'm a random guy wearing a top hat and a fake beard and in a suit. Maybe some people would recognize me, but it was going to look a hell of a lot better with a camera. Which is why Croa made the incredible offer, do you want me to bring my old camera? Because Croa has a vintage Kodak camera, I believe from the early 1900s, that genuinely looks exactly like the vibe of the camera from Earthbound. So, thank you, Croa, because you genuinely made that cosplay work. And I actually personally think it looked much better with that old camera instead of the Polaroid, because the Polaroid was a little too modern for how the camera looks in-game. That's why my headmates take reminders. No, this is the thing that sucks. I literally had a checklist of everything, but because I had all of that packed, I thought the night before, oh, I'm not going to forget to bring that. And I was such in a rush to get out the door, I thought I had brought it. I brought my Nintendo Switch bag instead. I didn't bring the camera bag, I brought the Switch bag. I was so frustrated because I was like, I knew I brought something, I just didn't bring the right thing. We have a bit of, exactly. No, dude, but I do this every single time. Literally every single time. I am guaranteed every time I leave the house for a big trip where I'm not going to be able to go home for days, I'm going to leave one thing behind. Always, without fail, every single time. Pardon me, I'm going to take another drink. Whew, I forgot how hard it is to like talk while like doing VR streams because you gotta like move. Thank you for the health check, Seth. I'm going to drink some water too. First, the soda that I could drink every day. They took my wife in the divorce. But, again, Croa saved it. But even cooler is that on that day, and I planned it specifically around this, that was the day, hydrate, don't dehydrate, Buncho in his deck. They took your Starman? No. But the cool thing is that holy shit, there he is. Get out of here. But the cool thing is, on that day, the con was doing a Nintendo cosplay themed photo shoot. And they were calling people up by series. They were like, actually, there were like 4 Waluigis. And so they were like, okay, first up, can we get all of our wahs? And it was so funny. They did one by one, and then they did a group photo. And they were like, okay, everybody, 3, 2, 1, wah! And they were all going, wah! Hi, Lycan, how you doing? But it was cool. We went one by one. Actually, funniest fucking thing. Yeah, the wrestler Waluigi was great. The funniest thing is when I walked into the con after getting in full cosplay, the first cosplayers I ran into were a Ness and a Jeff. And we took a photo together. We had to take a photo together. And then they went to the Nintendo cosplay photo shoot. Really nice people, very fun. We had a good time. They were actually super fucking sweet. I hope you had fun. I had a fucking blast. I haven't even gotten into like the meat of everything that happens. Like we're just getting into Saturday. Excuse me. Oh, one thing I'm going to mention real quick. The food there was ass. But we're going to find out later why we should have just fucking settled for it. Aren't we, Croa? Oh, man. But what fucking song is this? Oh, Oh, it's from ARMS. No, we're gonna go for, there we go. That's more Nintendo. No vocal mixes here, unless it's the DK rap. But yeah, the cosplay photo shoot was fun. Actually, the photographer really enjoyed my my camera, so I took a few photos where I was just holding the camera and just getting in like photography poses. It was fun. We had a good time. We did a big group photo, and just in time, it finished 15 minutes before the main thing I wanted to go to on Saturday. The Pikmin 4 Dandori Battle Tournament. I was so excited when they put on their schedule the Pikmin 4 Dandori Battle Tournament. And it was literally a bracketed tournament where two people would fight in the Pikmin 2 versus mode for Dandori battles. And, you know, it was a bracket system. You know, loser moves on. There wound up being 42 people. There were so many people, they needed 2 extra TVs to do rounds, not on the main monitor, just so they could actually finish the tournament within an hour, maybe an hour and a half. Because there were other tournaments, actually the Splatoon tournament that had been going on before us had gone over by I think about 10, 15 minutes. The Pikmin 2, or the Pikmin 4 tournament was gonna go on for the rest of the night if they didn't set up those extra monitors. They had to get people who were participating in the tournament to get their own Nintendo Switches out to plug them into the TVs. There were 3 monitors, 3 TVs, 3 Nintendo Switches, all running Pikmin 4 Dandori battles for the tournaments. Yeah, the Splatoon finale was hype. You wanna know what else was hype? When I was a young boy, this is gonna be a weird start, but you gotta bear with me. When I was a young boy, and when I was exploring YouTube in the earliest days, when I was, but one of the things that I like to do was I mainly like to search up Nintendo related stuff. Super Mario, The Legend of Zelda, mainly Mario though, Mario and Pokemon stuff, and I found a lot of cool stuff that I've even actually found again to this day. And I became fans of a lot of those a lot of like YouTubers where I would go back and concurrently check up on them. You know, stuff like the Cute Mario Bros, Super Mario Logan, those were 2 of my biggest ones. The biggest one of all, however, I like Nintendo stuff, never would have guessed. You serious? The biggest one, however, and the one that I became the biggest fan of ever since I was maybe 10 years old, I want to say. Maybe 10 or 11 years old, maybe even younger, was a man known as Chugga Conroy. And y'all should know this. He is the reason I'm into Pikmin. He's the reason that I ever thought about playing Earthbound. He's the reason why I do content on the internet in general. I never would have done anything on YouTube or Twitch or anything if it wasn't for Chugga Conroy. I would have never been interested. Absolutely nothing would have inspired me to do that if it wasn't for him. So when I was sitting down watching the end of the Splatoon tournament, and who walks by but the man himself and sits right in front of me is the man who inspired everything that I do to this current day. I was in shock. I was genuinely polarized. I turned to Booker, or Croa Booker, you know. I was shaking, and I said, that's him! That's the guy! That's the guy! I was genuinely, I've never been starstruck. Like, or maybe not never, but I rarely am ever starstruck, right? And I've run into, like, my fair share of celebrities. I've worked for a film festival before where a lot of celebrities were invited, so I've bumped into, this is a vocal mix we're gonna keep on because this song fucking rocks and it's gonna be appropriate for something later. For somebody who is a YouTuber with over 1 million subscribers, I think I was more shocked to be in his presence than I was for when I was in the presence of Daniel Craig, James fucking Bond, or Tara Strong. fucking the voice of everyone's childhood. When Suga Conroy sat right in front of me, I was in such awe, I didn't know what to do. Should I say something? Should I sit next to him? Nope. No. Don't be a fan. Be cool is all I was like. You lost me at Tara Strong, you had me at James Bond. I know. Everyone's perception of Tara Strong has very much changed. But with him right there were so many things racing through my mind. But the main thing, the biggest thing was don't be a fan. Don't be a fanboy, rather. Don't freak out. Don't run up to him and be like, I'm such a big fan. Thank you. And don't cry. Don't act like an ass. He's trying to enjoy his convention. That is literally everything. I had to reaffirm myself. I was like, look, he's trying to enjoy the con just like you. If you walk past him on your way to the thing, cool. Then you can say, hey, I'm a big fan. And that's what I wound up doing. Because when they were doing signups for the tournament, I walked past him eventually. He was one of the first people to sign up because he got in line very early. But when I walked past him, I literally, all I said was, I just turned him in and I said, hey, I don't want to take up a lot of time. I've been a big fan for a long time. You inspired me to make my own content. Thank you so much. And he was like, oh, thank you. Super cool about it, which is a lot less of what a lot of other people were saying to him. I'm telling you, there were people who were trying to genuinely just have a conversation, and I could tell he was getting really tired of it, and he was expecting it from a lot of people, and he was already kind of getting sick of it. So I didn't want to be one of those people. I didn't want to eat up his time. I didn't want to be a fanboy. I didn't want to I didn't want to try and connect with him, essentially. He's here to have fun. He's here to have a good time. He's not here to be mobbed by people at a gaming convention. So all I did was just a quick, hi, you inspired me. Thank you so much. Hope you enjoy the con. That's it. And he seemed, he seemed cool about it. He was obviously, I think, I'm not going to try and speak for him, but I think he was a little it was a lot. It was a lot. Just almost everybody coming up to him while he was just trying to sign up for this tournament. And I'm a man enough to admit that I did kind of silently pray that I would get matched with him. Because even if I were to lose to him, that would have been an honor. If I had beaten him, I don't know what I'd be able to do with myself, but I was like, please, that'd be so cool. It would be so awesome. So, unfortunately, he went up before I did. He wiped the floor with the other guy. They did mispronounce his name. His real name is Emil, and for some reason, a lot of people pronounce it Emily. Don't know why that is. For some reason, I've just always known it's Emil, and I know that E-M-I-L-E is Emil. Holy shit, the Starman. Yeah, when they announced it, it was like, Emily R, and he was like, it's Emil. That's how I went about things. The lead singer of my favorite goth bands. Yeah, it's like... Because it's those people are, they're people, first and foremost. They are people. And you're not trying to just you don't want to mob them. You don't want to like I was saying before, you don't want to be like, oh, I'm such a big fan. No. Don't fucking do that. Don't do that. Be respectful of their boundaries is the thing. And a lot of people just don't get that. And unfortunately, it just kind of leads to these situations where these creators or these celebrities even are just overwhelmed when they should be at a place where they should be comfortable. They should be able to just, have a good time. And I get it. Some people, it's hard for them to do that. But, it's still a thing of I understood the position he was in where almost everybody was going to try and crowd him and everything. But we had a good time. It was fun. The tournament was fun. I lost in the first round. But I found out why. Turns out, the person I was matched up against was the champion from last year's Dandori battles. The guy apparently, who was, by the way, dressed in what I will only describe as the purple Pimpmin, because he had a fucking pimp outfit on, all purple Pikmin themed. He was really cool. He was a really cool guy, by the way. He was a very nice guy. We shook hands before the match. We shook hands after the match. We wished each other luck. Really respectful guy. I bumped into him a few more times, actually. I lost. Not horribly, but he did kick my ass. And it sucks because I was like, I wanted to play more, but oh well, whatever. Then a little while after I think like 1 or 2 other rounds, like I looked at Booker and I was like, do we want to go? Do we want to stay for this? And we were just like, we can let it be. But before we left, I gave myself a little treat, a little fanboy treat. And still sitting right there in front of me, I leaned over to Chugga Conrad and I was like, hey, look, I'm not trying to, be intrusive, but I have this little book. Can you sign it real quick? And I gave him a marker and the booklet, and he was like, yeah, sure. So he signed it, and we were on our way. I was like, thank you so much. And then we were on our way. I thanked the person hosting the event, and I wished the guy I lost to good luck. Really nice guys. They were super cool about it. It was in between setups. It was an in between setup situation. Yeah, well, I mean, he had already done his round, so I knew that he wasn't like gonna be up again for at least a while. And I was like, if I'm not gonna do it now, like, when am I gonna do it in this kind of situation? Again, I didn't want to be like intrusive, and I didn't want to fanboy. So I was like, let me just keep it short, keep it brief. Not gonna have him sign a bunch of shit. I'm just gonna have him sign the book. Separiah. But yeah, he was really cool about it, and I was very grateful for that. In terms of other stuff we did on Saturday, we walked around the convention hall more. Turns out somebody had taken the ROM for Smash Remix 2.0, which just released, I think, like last week or something like that, maybe the week before, and they put it on an N64 cartridge. It works on real official hardware. So now I have a copy of Smash Remix 2.0 that I can just load up onto my Nintendo 64 and play legit with my friends if I want to. So this is the one with Sonic the Hedgehog and Crash Bandicoot and Lanky Kong. It's super fucking cool. It's the one where they got the announcer to reprise his role as the announcer. It's cool. It's the biggest update to Smash Remix so far. So I'm happy, and it was a little expensive, but I mean, to have it on official hardware that does work is awesome. That guy was selling a bunch of other stuff too. In fact, Mezzer, are you still in chat? While I take my drink, are you still in chat? Because there is something that we saw there where we immediately thought of you. Mezzer, have you played Earthbound before? And if not, have you had an interest? You have played Earthbound? Awesome. Have you heard of Equestria Bound? So it turns out there is a ROM hack of Earthbound where the entire thing is themed after My Little Pony. They were selling that on like a SNES cartridge, and mine and Booker's first thoughts were, we gotta tell Mezzer, because dude, it's all themed after My Little Pony. It is all themed. Your main character is not Ness, it's Dinky. You play as Dinky Doo. And like Derpy is your mom and everything. It's super fucking cool. Genuinely, I think you should play it. I think you should stream it. I'm not even being sarcastic. I think if you streamed it, that would be such a fun time. Just my opinion. But it was cool. They had a bunch of shit. They had Waluigi's taco stand. They had Toby Fox's his weird. Oh, he might be. Grilled cheese might be in it. I'll pay you money to stream it for a free ROM hack. But yeah, they had Toby Fox's Halloween hack, because I think it was renamed to like the Earthbound Radical Halloween hack, because Toby Fox's username was like Toby Radical Fox or something like that. Something along those lines. But they had that on a cartridge. They had a ton of shit. They had a ton of like ROM hacks on cartridges. They had the fully translated Mother 1 and 2 for GBA, Mother 3 for GBA, and Earthbound on NES. So it was on an NES cartridge, fully translated. It's Mother 1. It's Mother 1, but it's stylized as if Mother 1 were to have been ported to America like it was originally intended to. It has the full translation, no graphics are changed. It's all on a real NES cartridge instead of a Famicom cartridge. And it's super neat. It's super cool. I would have loved to have bought that, but again, everything there was just kind of in the same price range of what I would call a little too expensive, but the Smash Remix was at least kind of worth it. But it was cool. I could see at the very least somebody being like, I want that. I want to play Mother on original hardware. So it just wasn't for me. Mainly because I know that Mother 1 is nowhere near as good as the other games. So I didn't want to spend money on something where it was like, I am never even going to like want to touch this. So yeah, that was, Booker, was that basically Saturday? That was basically Saturday, right? We didn't really do anything else, right? We went to Buffalo Wild Wings for dinner. ROM Games and Consoles was literally shocking. Was it? Was it? Where's the Cobalt I helped crowdfund? What? Huh? What are you talking about? Why am I forgetting this? Oh, yes. He's sitting on my shelf. He is sitting on my shelf. I can see him. There he is. I'm pointing right at him in my own room. Yes, I do remember that. Yes. He's sitting on my shelf with the 2 other Cobalt plushes I have from that creator. But I think that was about everything we did on Saturday. It was Sunday. That was the meaty day. That was the day where I feel like, weirdly enough, despite Saturday being the fullest day where Croa and I were together the whole time. So, it was on Sunday that I knew we could not wait. Because, fun fact, because Croa had not come on Friday, there was a very long line to pick up badges if you hadn't picked up your registration badge on Friday. Croa had to wait in a line that almost wrapped around the entire convention center. I waited with them for maybe a half hour. Excuse me. Eventually, a con staff employee was like, hey, I see you have a you're registered. If you want to just go inside, you can. I was like, should I? Crow was like, it's up to you. And after a half hour, I was like, look, dude, I'm so sorry. I'm just gonna go. Turns out I had to wait in another line. There was another line to get in for people who've already registered. That one also took like 20 minutes. And it was hot, dude. It was so fucking hot. It was like almost 100 degrees. I'm sweating and I'm in cosplay. I'm wearing a white shirt and I guarantee that thing was fucking sweaty after I was done with it. That's why I brought a backup set of clothes, because I was like, I am not going to want to walk around this convention center in like this the whole day. And sure enough, I didn't. Wait, dude, what do you mean? That's exactly what happened. There was a second line. I told you this. I told you there was a second line. Saturday had just a major... What am I forgetting about Saturday? What am I forgetting about? Oh, shit! You're so right! So, Johnny Gioeli was there. Johnny Gioeli from Crush 40 was there. And he had a huge fucking concert. Holy shit. I have never seen... Is this more Sonic music? It is. That's really funny. It's not Crush 40. We actually got there early because, obviously we wanted to get there early. And we actually saw the tail end of a concert by this group called Psycho Stick. If you've ever seen those videos where they're Muppets and they're doing a parody of Let the Bodies Hit the Floor, but it's I Can Only Count to 4, that's those guys. And I will say, I have never seen a group of fully grown adults doing the hokey pokey to a death metal remix of the song until that night. And it was the greatest fucking thing I had ever seen. They were ridiculous, they were funny, and they sounded really fucking good. Also, apparently Red Vox was performing, but we just totally missed them. Sorry if I'm not talking, I'm hitting... Yeah, you're all good. You're all good, Mothman. But it was Johnny Gioeli who was fucking... I'm sorry, I'm moving hair away from my camera, so it does look like my arm is broken. It was Johnny Gioeli who was incredible. A room filled with people all singing Sonic music, and he performed obviously the big hits of Crush 40. He opened the show with Open Your Heart. He did Free, I think it's called, the theme from Sonic Free Riders. Yeah, dude, he looked like he was gonna pass out. He did the opening to Sonic CD which is insane because that's not a Crush 40 song. He did the theme song for Sonic Sat AM. It was sick, and the whole audience was singing along. He was pointing the microphone at people. He was inviting people on stage, like cosplayers and kids, Sonic heroes. What else? He did oh God, what's it called? The one from Sonic and the Black Knight, that's the one I actually got super into, even though I've never played that game. And of course, he ended it with Live and Learn. He couldn't have ended it with anything else. I have never left, I want to preface, I have seen Metallica before. And I have seen Metallica cover bands that are in small venues. I have seen intense concerts with really high octane music where you're head banging and jumping around and shit. Yeah, someone had a Sonic and Shadow pride flag and it was so fucking sick. I have never left a concert dripping in sweat before until that night. And I will say this full confidence, I would do it all again in a heartbeat. Because that was one of the coolest concerts I have ever been to. And it was a tiny, tiny venue. Tiny fucking venue. Where is my other control? There it is. Tiny venue. So fucking cool. I genuinely, I couldn't have had a better experience with it. It was sick. I loved it. I was singing along. Croa can confirm. Sardine type vibe. Yeah, and look... Some people were just honestly just kind of fucking rude because I'm telling you this, and Croa is gonna contest like, oh no, they're fine, they don't know. Dude, there were 3 people that just kind of wedged their way in between me, Croa, and just kind of like didn't try and find a more open space, and they were just kind of there, and it was just, I was like, let's move over to somewhere a little more open. And I mean, I thought it was super rude, but I mean, look, Croa is, I love you, Croa, but you are such a people pleaser, especially, or even for people that you don't fucking know. Yeah, and they were just tall enough that you couldn't really see the concert. I mean, to be fair, there was also a guy who was like right in my line of sight, who was before us, who was just, again, just tall enough to not see over. So I was like, let's move. But that was awesome. That was an hour of back-to-back Sonic music. He did his world. He invited a kid up on stage for his world, and it was super fun. He was so high energy. He was talking about, I'm going to be going to Bulgaria soon, and that's when I check my DMs, and I respond to everyone. You know, if you see me respond to your, like, Instagram DMs, that's me. That's me. That's not, like, an agent or something. And he was telling all these awesome stories. He was talking about, yeah, the kid, I think, was cosplaying. And he was like, you know, 27 years ago, I got an email in my inbox from Sonic the Hedgehog saying, do you want to do music for me? And I was like, I'm terrible at video games. I don't even know how to play games. And here I am 27 years, and it was so cool. I love it when musicians do that, when they get the audience involved and when they're doing things a little more personal. It was so cool. He was so nice. It was such a fun show. I really enjoyed it. I am so happy we went. Of all the things I'm happy we didn't miss, that's absolutely like at the top of the list. Yeah, he cried. Dude, people were chanting and cheering. They were going, Johnny, Johnny. At the fucking beginning. Shout out to Wawa Hoagie Fest because we were chanting hoagies and they flashed a picture of Wawa Hoagie Fest up on the screen and people cheered, and then they flashed a picture of Sheetz, which I guess is like a rival convenience store, and people fucking booed. It was fucking excellent. Thank you for the health check. I think I'm actually gonna take that. Excuse me. It was the funniest thing. But of everything, for some reason, despite it being the shortest day, literally the shortest day of the con, nothing compared to how packed Sunday was. Now, I knew that I did not want to be late because I saw how long those lines were. I didn't want to wait in that because I had things that I wanted to do. I had everything mapped out as a schedule in my head. So I got there at around 10 a.m. Croa took their own car because they were like, we're probably just going to like go to the con, hang out, get dinner, and just leave, right? We're not going to go back to the hotel. We couldn't go back to the hotel. So, sure enough, oh shit, Earthbound music. Is this Making Friends? I think this is Making Friends. Either way, So I got there at 10 a.m. They got a little bit later. They piled everybody into groups in the main stage place, the hall with the main stage, and then into the next room over. It was packed. I was lucky enough to be in group 4. I don't even know where Croa was. I didn't even know what fucking group they were in. That was how, like, far of a distance it was. And I was like, maybe if we ask con staff, like, they'll understand and maybe you can get in line with me. And they were like, dude, don't worry about it. Like, you wait in line and I'll meet up with you. Because the first thing I wanted to do, because I saw his line was consistently full, was I wanted to meet Charles Martinet. To get a little morbid, Charles Martinet is an old man. I don't know how many more years he has left on this earth, and I am not going to miss getting an autograph from him because I'm getting cold feet, or there's a shit ton of people who also want one. Wow, the focus did not like when I got that close to the camera. So in my backpack, I had my own personal copy of Super Mario 64. I literally, after the 4th group got into there, I ran, fucking bobbing and weaving past people. I was like, excuse me, sorry, excuse me, on your left, on your right. I wound up being the 4th person in line to see Charles Martinet. Focused on the snoot rather than the face. I was the 4th person in line. My heart was pounding, and there was Charles right in front of me. And he wound up talking to the first people in line for like 10 minutes because they kept striking up a conversation with him and having him sign these, I think they were like placards for the Super Mario pinball game that they must have had. And look, I don't want to be disrespectful, but when the line is building up behind you and you know it's going to keep building up, please at least try to be mindful of other people who also want to see the guy. I don't want to be a dick, but Charles also had a Q&A going on at 12:30. So the fact that it had started at 11 a.m. and he had to leave for an hour, in an hour and a half for about an hour. I mean, look, again, it's the whole thing of people just not being considerate of other people. And I get it. When you're in the presence of someone that you really admire, the world around you is gone, right? When you're in the presence of someone like Charles Martinet and you're a huge Mario fan, everybody else doesn't exist. It is you and Charles. You and Charles. I totally get it. It's just a thing for me where it's like, if I was in their position, I wouldn't want to eat up a lot of their time. I wouldn't want to eat up Charles's time. I wouldn't want to eat up the time of anybody else who also wants an autograph, because kind of like the Vine Sauce thing, when you got to the front of the line, they offered like, oh, do you want to buy stuff for Charles to sign? That's also going to eat up a lot of time. Though, to be fair, I think most people just brought something personal, like I did, like with my copy of Mario 64, and the person in front of me who also brought their copy of Mario 64. I was not original at all. What I should have done is I should have found a copy of Mario Teaches Typing. But eventually I made it. And the cool thing is, like I said, for every person I wanted to meet, I made a 3D print. And for Charles, I had this diorama, which was the frame of it was Luigi's Mansion, and in the middle of it was suspended with a bunch of filament was King Boo. And, you know, when I walked up to him, I was like, you know, hey, big fan, you know, I'm, you know, been playing your games, like, not your games, but like, I've been a huge Mario fan for a long time. You know, you're the voice of my childhood, blah, blah, blah. And I had him sign my copy of Mario 64, and he was like, oh, well, you know, do you want it to just be my name, or do you want to be like, you know, to your name? And I was like, oh, yeah, you can put my name on it, because, like, yeah, that lowers the value, but am I really going to sell it? A personalized signed copy of Mario 64 to me is worth more than anything. Also, I only paid like $20 for the game, so excuse me. But you know, when I like was talking, when I was saying like, oh, I'm a big fan, blah blah blah, he was like, yeah, thank you, you know, the typical sort of thing. And I was like, oh, and I have a gift for you. And I was like, oh yeah, thanks. And I handed it to him, and he was like, he went from like, you know, the typical like, oh, you know, hey, you know, it's nice to meet you, blah, 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 to like, whoa, wait, how does this work? His eyes fucking lit up, dude. He was genuinely like in shock. And I kind of like with when I met Chugga Conroy, I got starstruck. I got really flustered. because I was like, oh my God, he thinks it's really cool. He thinks it's cool. He thinks it's sick. And I was like, wait a second. He's actually like freaking out. He's showing his assistant, the person who he's there with, to like make sure he's being fed and like, hydrated and everything, and like, making sure everything's going smoothly. He shows it to her and he's like, look at this thing. And she's like, wait, that's really cool. And I'm like, Booker can attest. I was shaking. I was so happy. Sorry, I'm gonna take another drink. But then comes the sad part. And this is a little cautionary tale. Oh, hello? Who was that? No. Apollo, thank you so much for the 3 months. This is a little cautionary I like to call just eat the damn food. The runaway guys, Chugga Conroy, Proton John, also known as Claire, and Josh Jepson. Unfortunately, Nintendo Capri Sun could not make it this year. But they were having an autographing event at one of the autograph booths at 1:15. And in my head, in my own personal schedule, I had planned to eat lunch at around 12 o'clock, maybe like 12:15, get online at 12:45, and try and be, if not the first, one of the first people online. Crow and I had decided we were sick of the con food. It was overpriced and it was garbage. And I will stand by that. I got a hot dog and fries and 2 sodas, and it cost me like $20. The hot dog was bloated and the fries were under-seasoned. Croa got nachos and they sucked. So we decided, there's a Wendy's 5 minutes away. Let's go. 12 o'clock. We'll be back in time. I severely underestimated the lack of parking. So what wound up happening was, by the time we got back to the convention, which to be fair, it was about 12:50, we could not find any parking. This fucking goofy ass music. We could not find any parking. Except for one spot. I'm sorry, I need to skip this. This is stupid. This is goofy. Cool, there we go. We'll get Big Blue. There was one spot. A 5-minute walk. And I was like, all right, we'll get there by 1. That's fine. 15 minutes early, I'll still get online. We get to the door. I forgot my phone. Why's my leg like that? Dude, I'm fucking stanced. Hold on. Yeah, so it's like, okay, let's go. I forgot my phone. By the time Croa and I had made it back into the convention hall, it was already 1:15, and the line had been capped. Con staff had officially capped the line. It had gotten so long that, by their calculations, by the time the back of the line would be hit, their time would be up. And they would have no more time. They would have to start prepping for their own panel, known as Throne Controllers. And I will admit, I was really upset. Yeah, they were also rushing people. I was really upset. I needed to sit down because I knew if I hadn't had a moment to just sit down and just kind of vent off a little steam, not like vent to somebody, but just kind of like have a minute to just literally fucking Shinji pose in the manner of, I hope that looked good. I will admit it was kind of devastating. For the sole purpose of, they were the entire reason I even wanted to go to this con. Yeah, I did. I very much Shinji posed. Because, look, as nuts as it might sound, the Runaway guys, especially Chugga Conroy, are the people who inspired me to make content. They are my idols. And to know that I had possibly just missed my only chance to see them, the entire reason why I had gone to the convention, was now for nothing. Yes, I had met Vinesauce. Yes, I had met Charles Martinet. But in that moment, as somebody who has some of that Shinji post, that was a good Shinji post. Thank you. In that moment, all of this was for nothing. Everything I had gotten at the con, everything I had seen, every person I had talked to, in that one moment, as selfish and as petty as this may sound, in that one moment, why did I bother going? After a few minutes, I cooled down. And I was like, you know what? You met Vinesauce, you met Charles Martinet, and you met Chugga Conroy. So, by all technicalities, you had a good time. You met a lot of cool people. And they do conventions. They do other conventions. They do MagFest. They do Too Many Games other years. Cool down. Just take a minute. Walk around the convention hall a little bit more. And you know what? You're gonna get to see Throne Controllers. Maybe you'll get called. Maybe you'll get called to participate in Throne Controllers. It sucked because, again, I had 3D printed stuff for them. Gifts, personalized little tokens of my appreciation, things to show that I was a big fan and that I love their content. You're gonna miss something big, exactly. But this was like something big for, again, this was the entire reason I had gone. This was the equivalent. Imagine for a moment, imagine that you're going to a concert, right? To see the person that you wanted to see. Like, let's say dead or alive, it's like someone you're the biggest fan of, right? In terms of their music. It could be fucking Metallica, Michael Jackson, Tchaikovsky. Like, let's say they're alive and they're doing one more show. And you went to the opening act and they were really cool. And then you were like, I need to get a soda. And you go to the concession stand. And the line is so long you miss the entire concert. And the concession line is in a soundproof room, so you couldn't even hear the fucking music. That's kind of what it was like for me. Joel was there, that'd be great as it was me. It was Vinny. Yeah, I met Vinny, and Vinny was super cool. I love Vinny. I love Vinny and Joel, to be fair. Again, not to be petty, they were the entire reason I went to the con. And it sucked that I didn't see them, like, meet them personally. So I was bummed. But you know what? Again, I had a minute to cool off. I was like, you know what? Let's walk around a little bit more. Let's have some fun. We walked around the vendor hall a little bit more. And you know what? We saw a lot of cool shit. We saw a lot of really cool shit. I saw, the only time I've ever seen this, a fully in-boxed with all the inserts, including the strategy guide and the stickers, in what I would call near mint condition, Earthbound. In the best condition I've ever seen it. Hey, does anyone have $4,000? No way in hell was I gonna get it. No way in hell was I gonna be able to afford anything like that. $4,000 for Earthbound? No. But I will say, I think that's an example of extremely pricey, but if you had the money, it might be worth it, because that is the ultimate SNES collector item. And I looked around at some stuff. I went back to the guy who... Is this I'm All of Me? No, it's not. I'm gonna get fucking shot for saying that. That's Persona music. That's understandable, Raven. I was not about to even consider getting it, but it was still cool to see. There was a guy selling the Nintendo World Championship cartridge. I went back to the guy selling the ROM hacks. And then I saw something. I want to note, there were a few people selling copies of Earthbound. Original, official copies, tested, fully working. And they were really expensive. They were anywhere between $400 to $500. Not worth it, in my opinion. Absolutely not worth it. Then there was one guy selling a copy of Earthbound with a small bit of cosmetic damage. Just a tiny little tear on the top of the label. And it was the cheapest I had seen it. And it was still expensive. But I figured, I've been saving up for this convention. I've literally been setting aside money for a big purchase. And I just missed my chance to meet Chugga Conroy. And the Starman appeared in my mind. The little angel on my shoulder. And the little orca whale on my other. You're not going to see it. But trust me when I say, That's not it. Don't worry. I didn't just fucking tap my super expensive video game. I did not just do that. That was the copy of Smash Remix. It was expensive, but it was something I really wanted, and it's a collector's item that is only going to appreciate more in value. Hello, Metal Face Punk. I got it. I now have an official copy of Earthbound. And I have an unofficial copy because I actually bought a reproduction cartridge, which, fun fact, I wanted Chuka Conroy to sign. Guess what? I didn't get signed. But yeah. I was at a con with my dad, Pennsylvania, the ECW ring set, and I was again, but taking on it, and it goes, a Hollywood Hogan figure from 2002, and went to Wendy's. That's fair. Catch you later, Felix. But I now own an official copy of Earthbound with a slight bit of cosmetic damage that I don't really think hurts the value all too much. But even then, I'm just happy that I have it. Holy shit, I own a real copy of Earthbound. I now have a real copy of Mother 1 and a real copy of Earthbound. All I need is a Japanese import copy of Mother 3, and I have the whole Mother series. Aside from Mother 1 plus 2, but it kind of like, hey Pikmin, we don't talk about that. We don't talk about Mother 1 plus 2. It's really bad. How do you fuck it up that bad, Nintendo? Just... But the final thing I wanted to do, and the thing I was never going to miss, I told Croa, and we both agreed there is no way we're going to be even slightly late to this, was Throne controllers. The Runaway Guys' big event. The big event that they hold at every con they go to. Excuse me. God, I don't know why I'm burping so much. Probably because I'm drinking soda. Oh, that reminds me. I saw a Dr. Coomer cosplay from Half-Life VR. And when I took a picture of him, he literally hit the pose. He was really funny. And, fun fact, as I'm drinking soda, I am drinking it out of my official Black Mesa Silly Straw. I'm not kidding. I literally have a bright orange silly straw right here. He was really cool. He was a really funny guy. And I saw him twice, and I did the voice both times, and he, like, responded in character. They took my wife in the divorce. Yeah, we got to Throne controllers 45 minutes early, so we waited quite a while. But we saw Chuka Conroy, Proton John, and Josh Jepson passing us like every couple of minutes. And I kept holding up my little 3D print. So I got 2 3D prints for Chuka Conroy. One I made for Proton John and one I made for Josh Jepson. For Chuga, I had printed a what I would call a very nicely fits in the palm of your hand Mr. Saturn, which was really cool, and I was very proud of it. And I had a little Starman, maybe about like this big, something like this. For Proton John, I found a 3D model which was a style inspiration from Super Mario World, and I had super glued it on top of a 3D model of a Pokey, and it's a reference to an old Proton John bit where she's playing Kaizo Mario, and the Pokey is moving super slow, and she goes, "Move faster, Pokey! Move faster!" So I 3D printed that, and for Josh Jepson, who I knew through his inclusion in the new Super Mario Bros. Playthrough that the Runaway Guys did, I 3D printed him a little yellow toad. Yeah, the Mr. Saturn was so good I might print one for myself. Oh, man. But what was it? So I went to the event, and I was holding the Mr. Saturn, and I was trying to shake it, and when they were, like, starting, I was like, woo, yeah! And I was holding up the Mr. Saturn and shaking it around, like, praying, like, please see me, please see me. And that's when Chuka Conroy, I forget how it was prompted. Oh, it was because, like, people were, like, raising their hands trying to get picked, and they were like, oh, yeah, no, we're doing random numbers. Because everyone got a card with a random number on, and they were like, we're doing random numbers. Like, we can't see you. They blind us up here. And I was like, oh, so they just haven't been seeing me make an ass of myself by waving around a Mr. Saturn? Oh, man. But, actually, fun thing, I almost forgot the Mr. Saturn at a booth. I almost forgot it at someone's vendor booth because I was doing this thing because there were a few artists who did a Pikmin-themed stamp hunt where if you bought something from them, they would stamp a card that one of them would give you, and if you got all of them, you would get a little prize. And so I got a little I've got a few stickers, I got a sticker pack, and I got a winged Pikmin keychain. And it was super fucking cool. It was an acrylic keychain. I almost left the Mr. Saturn at one of the booths. So thank God I remembered him, because I was literally standing with Croa at a booth where they were talking to an artist, and I was like, where's Mr. Saturn? Oh shit! Mr. Saturn! Literally, I ran up to the booth and I was like, that's my Mr. Saturn, sorry. Oh, and it was really funny. Oh my God. But this whole time, I'm thinking, please, just let me go up for throne controllers. And would you believe it, chat? After missing them at their autograph booth, and now being only but 10, 20 feet, no, not 10, like 20 feet away from them, watching as multiple people get called up one by one, failing game challenges, getting bad game trivia and brutal questions, easy game trivia, who said this line? Would you believe, after all this time, I didn't get called up. I did not get called up. I was not one of the numbers that was picked to participate in Throne Controllers, and I did not have my chance to say hello or get to say hi to the Runaway guys. But unlike before, I accepted it. I understood. Fate wasn't on my side in that instance. It's okay. Until, after the show, Proton John was helping cleaning up the whole event with the staff, because they had actually gone overtime by, I think, like 5 minutes. There was a 3-way tie between two of the early contenders and the last person who got just enough points. They had to decide the entire thing, which, by the way, the grand prize was a Nintendo Switch 2. They had to decide it on Samurai Kirby, which is a Kirby Superstar a Kirby Superstar minigame, where it is a reaction minigame. They decided the entire tournament based off of that, and a guy in a Springtrap cosplay won everything because his reaction time was just a little bit better. Yeah, it was fun and it was hype, because when the Springtrap guy won, people jumped out of their seats. They were like, yeah! They were really excited for the guy because he had... Oh, it was Patchy. No, it wasn't Patchy. Patchy won the original round, right? No, Patchy didn't win the Switch 2. Did Patchy win the Switch 2? Shit. I genuinely don't remember. Patchy won the whole thing? Shit. So I'm wrong. It was not the Springtrap guy. But it was exciting. People were excited either way. You're so right, by the way. You are so right. But as Proton John was helping clean up, I noticed that Chugga Conroy had gotten off stage and was talking to some people. And I was like, or no, rather, people were crowding around the stage and they were just saying hi to Claire and, being like, hi, hello, big fan, blah, blah, blah. It was neck and neck. So I figured, as Crow was walking away, I was like, hey, look, just give me a few minutes. With all my 3D prints in hand, I eventually get up to the stage. Claire is in the middle of talking to somebody, so I wait. I wait till she's done, and I say, hey, sorry, don't want to take too long, but I'm a big fan. And she was like, yeah, thanks, thank you. And then I said, I have these little 3D printed gifts, and I give her little Move Faster Pokey. And her expression went from, oh, I'm really busy, but thank you for your appreciation. Like, thank you, for saying all that, to, oh, shit, that's really cool. And she, again, I got kind of giddy. Because I was like, oh, that's super sick. Then I saw Chugga Conroy walking past the stage, and I was like, oh, Emil. And he, looked at me like, oh, God, is that a fan? But I showed him, I have this for you. And I gave him the Mr. Saturn. He was like, oh, thank you. And then I gave him the little Starmie. He was like, oh, thank you so much. And it was really cool. The only thing I had left was Josh Jepson. The only thing I had left to give out was my thing for Josh Jepson, and I had successfully given a gift to every YouTuber that has inspired me in some way, shape, or form. At least I was at the con. I didn't know where Josh was. I thought he had went backstage, but I knew something. I saw the person who had been giving out the cards. And I was like, I walked up to her and I was like, hey, I don't want to bother, but do you know where Josh is? I have this little gift for him. And she's like, oh, yeah. And she saw and she was like, whoa, that's really cool. Do you want to go meet him? I'm like, do I want to Do I want to what? Turns out the person who was helping organize the event and the person who I was talking to was Josh Jepson's girlfriend. So sure enough, we found him mingling with some people, and she was like, hey, we have a gift for you. And I gave it to him. I was like, yeah, I do 3D prints on the side. And he was like, wait, this is so cute. Cause like I was like, yeah, like to me, like you know, you're the yellow toad. Like that is like, you know, that's who I know you as. You know, there was the first Runaway Guys playthrough I ever watched, and it was with you. And I was like, that's really cool. Do you want to take a picture? And I was like, do I want to take a picture? What do you take me for? What do you take me for, Josh? No, but I took a picture with him. And that inspired me. I had missed them at their autograph booth. I had missed them participating in the event that they were hosting. I walked right back up to Sugar Conroy, surrounded by other people. And I waited my turn. And I said, Emil, I'm going to be greedy. I just said hi to you. Can I take a picture with you? And I took out my phone. This is not a phone, but we'll count it anyway. Thank you for the star, man. And I said, this is going to look good. I hope this looks good. And I said, cheese. And sure enough, I now have a picture on my phone with my idol, the man who I've been watching for over 15 years. I look like a fucking mess because I was sweaty, it was hot, and my hair was frizzy. But I now have a photo with Chugga Conroy after 15 years. If you had gone back in time to 2012 and told me you are going to have a chance to not just meet, but give a gift and get a picture with the man who has inspired you to play Pikmin and will inspire you to do so much more stuff, I would have never believed you. But it is real. It's on my phone. I had an awesome time. I had a really fun time. I genuinely, I don't think that convention, well, okay, it could have gone better. It could have gone much better. I could have not missed the Runaway Guys. Fucking, there are other things I could have done. And I didn't have to pay any money. Well, they weren't charging for autographs. Charles Martinet was, because that's a thing with like contracts. That's like a contract thing for, I think, like the Actors Guild. Pardon me while I drink. This silly straw actually really sucks to drink out of. And I mean that in both the sense of like, it sucks to use and like, I have to suck really hard. There were things I wanted to do that I didn't get to do. I wish I had the disposable income to buy one of the better condition copies of Earthbound. I wish I had met Samantha Kelly, who was there and is the voice actress for Princess Peach. I wish I had met John DiMaggio. Am I happy with what I did, though? Absolutely. Because in that final moment, because right after that we left. By the way, I did actually run into somebody who is now a mutual of mine. Before we were oomph, now we're mutual, apparently. But that was, hold on. Make sure I get their username right. Rusty Doodlebot. They are someone huge in the Pikmin, or they're someone big in the Pikmin 2 community. And they are obsessed with the ship from Pikmin 2. In fact, they are the one who coined the ship's nickname being Rusty. We finally met. We got to meet in person. They were cosplaying Rusty. They were super sweet, and I'm so glad we're mutuals now. And yeah, Carl and I left. We got some dinner at a Italian restaurant, and yeah, we had fun. We had a lot of fun. I had a fucking blast. I spent a good bit of money, as you do at conventions, but you know what? I would do it all again. Maybe do a little different. Maybe be a little smarter with my time. But I would happily do it again. And maybe I will. They do the con every year. Same place. Who knows? And yeah, the drive back wasn't too bad. Had to take a lot of pit stops because, I don't know, I guess my bladder just hated me that day, which is weird because I didn't have to take a lot of pit stops on my way to the con. In fact, it was straight shot. But it was awesome to go to a con with my friend. It was awesome to go, yeah, it was a really nice Italian restaurant. It was awesome to go to a convention with the intention not being to see other friends and to just like walk around the con and buy shit and go to panels and stuff with a friend. Like, you know what I mean? Like I said, MFF is a totally different, excuse me. Wow, I'm so sorry that I'm burping so much. like I've said, MFF is such a totally different vibe, you know? MFF is the kind of con where you go specifically to meet up with your friends. That's not what Too Many Games is. Cons like Too Many Games are cons where you go to so you can trade games with people, buy games from people, meet cosplayers, meet celebrities and e-celebs that you really like who happen to be going there, participate in tournaments. And that was such a cool vibe. To go to a con like that with a friend and experience that together is unique. And I'm happy I did it. And I really hope that the guests at Too Many Games 2026 are equally as cool and people that I want to meet just as much. If not, hey, maybe PAX, maybe MagFest. I would love to go to more gaming cons. I'd love to go to more cons in general. Unfortunately, me going to this was the reason why I'm not going to AC, so I'm so sorry to all my mutuals who are going to AC that I'm going to miss. Oh, man. But I had a good time. I had a very good time. And I've spent the last hour and 40 minutes talking all of your... Well, actually, it was technically been an hour and a half. I've spent the last hour and a half talking your ears off. My question for you all. So the next little while, who wants to do some motherfucking tier lists? Yup, we're doing this shit. This is a world in VRChat known as Tierland, made by Jar. I believe Jar is also... Actually, I'm not going to say anything because I'm so scared I'm going to get it wrong. But I believe Jar has also made another world that I really love. I'm not going to say anything for fear of getting it wrong because I am scared of confrontation. But let's do some tier lists. I'm going to find some random tier lists that are here in the world. Let me go ahead and recalibrate once again. I'm going to find some random tier lists. It gives a whole massive list of, God, there's got to be at least 100 tier lists here. We're going to pick out some random ones and we're just going to have fun. I'm going to rank them, but you all, I want to interact with you all. If you guys want to give your opinions, feel free to. Goober, you cannot. What do you mean I cannot? I can. All right, let's see. What have we got here? What have we got that sounds fun? It's all randomized, by the way, so if you come to this world, you're not going to get the same tier list. Should I turn on follow me? Do you guys want to see me just run off frame and run back into frame, or do you guys want to follow me as I come in? Because I feel like that would get super disorienting for it to be like, whoa, 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 whoa. I feel like that would get super disorienting. For now, I'm going to do this, but if people say otherwise. Also, shout out to Happy Hoagie. He is 100% the reason I'm doing this. Let's see. Ooh, how about we do condiments? Nice, easy one to start off with. Nice and easy. You guys ready? Okay. First condiment. An interesting choice. I don't know if this is specifically for the brand, but queso. Salsa con queso, specifically. So a salsa cheese dip, essentially. I'm going to be 100% honest. I'm not actually, I can do it like this. That's funny. I'm going to be real. I'm not huge about this. I'm not huge on salsa con queso. Mainly because I am very much a picky eater and I am someone who likes one or the other. I want a cheese dip or I want a salsa. The minute you start combining it, I know it's a flavor combination that is obviously popular and people like it. Is this, what the fuck is this? Oh, it's fucking Splatoon music. Yes, I too love when people scream into a melodica. There we go. There we go. That's much better. Salsa con queso. Again, I am of the personal opinion where I like one or the other. I prefer it to be either salsa or queso. I don't like the combination of the two. I'm not going to knock people who do like it. For me personally, however, I think I'm going to put this... I don't want to put this so low, so I'm going to put it middle of the road in B tier. It's a B tier condiment. I'm sorry. Next up. Oh, goody! Sauerkraut. This is where I'm going to really upset my German roots. I don't like sauerkraut. I don't like sauerkraut at all. It's got a very intense... yeah. It's a lot. Boo! What do you mean, boo? You can't boo me, I'm right. I don't like sauerkraut, man. I don't like sauerkraut. It's not the worst condiment. Also, we call this a condiment? This is a condiment now? Why are we rating dips and sides? Because we're doing tier lists now. In what world is this a condiment? Like this is a topping, right? And there's, in my opinion, there is a distinct difference between a topping and a condiment. You know? Hot dogs. It's regional. Yeah? Regional? I'm sorry. I don't fuck with it. I don't fuck with it. They're gonna kill me if I put it in D tier. Fine. I'll compromise and put it in C tier. You fuckers will be happy about it. Okay? You guys are gonna be fucking happy about it. If you're mad, fuck off. Oh no, this is where y'all are gonna kill me. Okay, alright, fine. We'll talk about honey mustard. We'll talk about mustard. Funny meme, by the way. Let's get this for the thumbnail shot. Mustard! I don't like mustard. Hi, Jesse. How you doing? Yeah, I'm gonna be fully honest. Anything with mustard in it is gonna be a very, very low tier for me. I don't like mustard. Mustard is a really intense flavor for me. I can't. I've tried every mustard. I've tried honey mustard. I've tried yellow mustard. I have tried brown mustard. I have tried every kind of mustard under the sun. It's always the mustard flavor that bothers me. It is too much on my tongue. It is way too much. It is such an intense flavor. It is like a fucking smoke bomb in my... It is literally a mustard gas bomb in my mouth. I hate mustard. I hate mustard. Northeasterners cannot handle the sauce. Fuck off. Fuck off. There we go. Fuck off. Fuck you and your mustard. I'm gonna put it in D tier because it's better than just yellow mustard or brown mustard because you're a beast. How's too many? Jesse, we just spent the last hour and a half talking about too many games. Oh, Jesus Christ. What is that? Oh, okay. I unfortunately don't have an opinion on this, so I'm gonna need to rely on you guys. I don't have a Cane's. Can somebody do me a favor and tell me how Cane's is? S? I have been told it's really good. Can I ask something? What is in the Cane's dipping sauce? Is it like ranch? Is it a ranch base? Is it like... I'm gonna get fucking crucified for saying this, but is it like the Big Mac sauce where it's ranch? We don't have any here. There's gonna be one opening up near me, so I soon will be able to participate in the wondrous experience of the place that sells the big sauce and chicken. Honey mustard is okay, cool. Yeah. So anyway, Crimson, that's the honey mustard right there in D tier. How you doing, Crimson? It's been a while. Hope you've been well. It's sort of hi, Dandy. Oh my God, I didn't even see you. It's sort of ranchy from what I remember. So I've never actually had Cane's dipping sauce. Because I don't have a Cane's near me, and every time I've been in an area with a Cane's, I don't go to Cane's because who goes to Cane's? Yeah, you're wrong, but it's okay. Yeah. Anyway. I also put sauerkraut in C tier. Oh my God, I feel like I should switch those, actually. Mayo, ketchup, Worcestershire, black pepper, paprika, ooh. Okay. That actually sounds like it's getting better. Fuck you too, bitch. Yeah. Fuck you. Ooh, mayo, though. Okay. Because I've never had it, I'm going to be a little ambiguous. I'm going to put it right in the middle. I'm going to put it in B tier because I've never had it, so I'm not going to be strong about it, but a lot of people seem to really like it. But I see cute haunts, true. Cute orc, dork orc. People say this saves the chicken. People say this saves the dog shit, well, the mid chicken at Cane's. So for that alone, congratulations. Okay, actually, my opinions have shifted. If you had asked me a year ago what I think about barbecue sauce in general, not even just Sweet Baby Ray's, but if you had asked me what I thought about barbecue sauce, I would have told you, bleh. It's like saying Big Mac sauce saves the burger. Well, I put it in B tier, so be fucking happy. With the stuff I never had on, yeah, I usually put C. Yeah, same. So I will drink the Sweet Baby Ray's out of my fridge right now. Messer, I think you're just insane. I don't love barbecue sauce. In fact, if I'm getting a steak, I'm asking for no barbecue sauce. However, at my friend's wedding last year, which I attended, the food was barbecue. There's a lot. There was like a, what's it called? I think there was brisket, but there were ribs, and they all had barbecue sauce. And I was like, fuck, I don't like barbecue sauce. Not barbecue sauce, I meant steak sauce. I meant steak sauce. I'm getting Sweet Baby Ray's mixed up with A1. I'm sorry. But if you would ask me a year ago, like, what I think of, like, if you asked me like 2 years ago, what do I think of barbecue sauce? I'd be like, I'm never putting that shit on anything. You ask me now, I'm like, I don't know. Maybe there's, is this from, oh, it's Dragon Quest. I literally thought, like, isn't this from Fortune Street? Now Pan's gonna kill me. Stubbs pretty goated. This is just for barbecue sauce in general, by the way. This isn't Sweet Baby Ray's. This isn't just Sweet Baby Ray's. This is barbecue sauce in general. So I'm gonna say, I'm not gonna put it on everything I get. In fact, I'm gonna let y'all on a little secret. If I am to get any kind of ribs, I'm going Chinese spare ribs over barbecue ribs any day of the week. I'm going one over the other. Your pass because you're cute. Thank you. I'm not going to be as nice as I am for the cane sauce. Maybe I am. I like this, by the way. They make a different pling. You can make a fucking song with it. Shit. Link, I'm gonna squish you for that opinion. Look, if you're doing barbecue on chickens, better be like actual barbecue chicken, not terms. That's fair. I feel like this is a sauce that a lot of people say is more goated than it actually is. Okay, this is a condiment I've never actually used, mainly because I don't like a lot of salads. Can you tell I'm a fat ass? Someone give me an opinion on Thousand Island dressing. Someone give me an opinion on Thousand Island dressing. Is it good? Is it bad? I'm gonna drink some water. Only on certain sandwiches. My dad loves it. Bunny doesn't like salads. It's situational. There's your opinion. My GF does as well. Okay. What is the base? Is this a vinegar base? Is my question. Is this a vinegar based salad dressing? Pretty low tier. No, it is not. What is the base for Thousand Island dressing? Because that may sway my opinion. Because there are certain things, right? What is this fucking song? Of course it's Pac-Man. Mayo ketchup, I see. It's basically the base for cane sauce. Well, with the addition of sweet pickle relish, and sometimes other ingredients like vinegar or lemon juice. So it sounds like canes without a lot of the flavor. I mean, if it's just canes without a lot of the flavor, then I guess it's going to be C tier. It's going to be lower than canes. Like, am I right? It's every burger sauce ever. You know what? Yeah, then it's low. Maybe I should move it lower. Maybe I'll reconsider. If someone says D tier is too low, oh, dude, okay. Now we're getting into sauces toppings I use a lot. In fact, this is a condiment. I love salsa. I fucking love salsa, dude. I love tortilla chips. I love putting this shit, like, listen, fucking anytime I'm having, like, Mexican food. First of all, if I'm going out to a Mexican restaurant, if they're not giving me chips and salsa, I'm out of there, dude. I'm never coming back. Paste salsa is really an interesting salsa to put as sort of the poster boy. I would have gone with Mrs. Renfro's. I like Mrs. Renfro's. I also kind of fuck with the Tostitos. Weirdly enough, not a fan of the Margaritaville salsa. The Margaritaville salsa is not that good in my opinion. I don't know if anyone's going to disagree or if anyone's going to be like, I didn't even know Margaritaville had a salsa. That's the only salsa flavor on the... I think so. Sent you a DM because I had to. I am not sorry. All right. Is he gonna yell at me? Typical white male? For what? Because I like salsa? Are you really gonna get mad at me for liking salsa? I'm not a huge salsa man, but the only good salsa, and I'm not gonna fucking deny that, but I like salsa. Get off my dick. There's the star man, and he's telling you to get off my dick. I like salsa. Here's the thing, though. Is salsa a good condiment? It works really well on Mexican food, and only Mexican food. Spanish food in general. It works really well on most Spanish food. I love it a lot. I'm putting it in A tier. No, bad condiment. You make your own tier list then, buddy. Okay. Who wants a controversial opinion? I totally don't have a redeem called hot takes. I don't like mayo. I really don't like mayonnaise. I can't stand the smell. I can't stand the taste. It's really bad. Dude, it also doesn't help that my family loves making Crimson Contrarian back on the mic, but you're white. My family loves making stuff with mayo in it, like what's it called? Like egg salad sandwiches. Egg salad sandwiches have mayo in them, right? Is this the peak song? But egg salad sandwiches have adorable. There's one thing I put it on, that's BLTs. I don't even put it on that, man. My family makes too much stuff with mayo, and I can't fucking stand it. It sucks. Yeah, usually. Isn't that fucking bad? People villain. Absolutely. I do agree it's overhated. However, I'm going to continue that. No, fine. No, I'm sorry. I can't stand it. I really can't stand it. I'm so sorry, Pippin. I can't in good faith put fucking mayonnaise in anything aside from F tier. You think it's overhated? I think it's overloved. I think enough people like mayonnaise, but there are such a vocal minority of people who are like, mayonnaise is the worst condiment. This is a condiment? I would call this a seasoning. Okay, pepper. What you doing with all that pepper? Get that pepper off of there. Mayo and F is crazy. You're crazy. I guess we'll call this a condiment. I guess they're classifying condiment as anything you would put on top of food. That's why fucking sauerkraut is here. Who invited sauerkraut to the party? Mayo Okay, elaborate on that, because I'm not gonna lie, I put pepper on almost anything. Sorry, I'm just gonna put my phone down on my desk just so I can easily have some access to it, just in case I get a text. It's just garlic Oh, you're talking about aioli. I was like, what the fuck are you talking about? Pepper is just garlic mayo. People act the same superior, it's a superior option, it's the same thing. Yeah, that is true. Anyway, pepper. I love pepper. I put it on almost everything. I feel like if you don't like pepper, you're kind of crazy. Oh, when you said Mayo Plus, you were talking about aioli. I put pepper on almost everything. Like, genuinely, it's literally, salt and pepper is the thing. Okay. Okay. How do we feel about hot sauce? I've never seen this brand before. Louisiana, I guess. There we go. So I'm gonna be fully honest. As much as I love salsa. Whoa, I've heard the gravity super low here. Much as I just hit my lamp. Love salsa. I am not crazy about hot sauce, but I won't turn down a good hot sauce. Here's my thing. I think hot sauce makes a better ingredient for, like, improving something than it makes just, like, I would never put straight hot sauce on something. I would mix hot sauce. Like, if I wanted to make, like, a salsa hotter, I would put hot sauce in it. Sriracha for anything with rice, red hots, or yes. Okay, you're so right, because I love buffalo wings, and only recently have I really started enjoying buffalo wings with sauce. Hot sauce is really good. I need to try the vine sauce on some buffalo wings. Genuinely. You put hot sauce on everything? That's fair. That's fair. Just for me personally, I don't like putting it just bare on everything. I would prefer to, like, mix it as, like, to make it a more enhanced sauce. Try the vine sauce and I'm not just gonna try the vine sauce bare. I'm not gonna fucking, like, SpongeBob with the hot sauce. I'm gonna fucking drip it out, and Vinny's, like, just gonna be on the little droplet. His face gonna appear like, you're gonna like the vine sauce. I'm personally going to put hot sauce in a... I kind of want to put it in A, but I kind of want to put it in B. So remember when I freaked out with my friend's mom? Tabasco and... Mezzer, you need to get fucking... you need to be stopped. You need to be stopped, man. Jesus Christ. I think... Fuck. It's a really hard one, actually. Ooh, okay. Here's my thing. I'm putting it in B tier, but it's a very high B tier. It is on the cusp of being A tier, but only because I don't like putting it right on stuff. I like putting it on, I like mixing it in with other stuff to make a better, like a wing sauce or something like that. I would mix it in with other flavors and stuff like that to make it hotter, or like I would mix it in with a salsa to make it hotter and stuff like that. So that's my opinion. Okay, here we are back at the controversial opinions again. I don't like sour cream at all. Again, very much in a household where we buy the giant tubs of sour cream and my family uses it a lot. I don't like sour cream. I don't like the taste. I don't like the flavor of sour cream at all. I don't fuck with it. I don't like sour cream. I'm so sorry. It's a lot. Why is my finger not... There we go. I don't like sour cream. Like, how are we friends? Sour cream for nachos, baked potatoes. That's the thing. Potato pancakes. Thank God you said potato pancakes. I was like, did you just say you put fucking sour cream on your pancakes? Gotta have sour cream with those. No, because I just put salt, pepper, and butter on my baked potatoes. And for nachos, I just... for nachos, I just put fucking cheese. That's all. That's all you need. I'm sorry. I don't like sour cream. Maybe this was a bad tier list to do. I will acknowledge that it's a very popular choice and it goes with a lot of things, so I will at least put it in C tier. I just don't like it. I just don't like it. We have 5 remaining. Oh, here we go. Yellow mustard. Yellow mustard. You already know what I think of honey mustard, so guess where this is going? Okay, I'm gonna do something. I'm gonna do something controversial. I'm putting honey mustard in C tier because honey mustard is objectively better than regular mustard, like yellow mustard. Saying link to Stinky Land. Well, fuck you. Yellow mustard sucks. Yellow mustard is everything bad about honey mustard and just none of the good. So, I hate mustard. And that meme sucks. Ooh, again, this is a condiment? Okay, any Elf fans out there? Any fans of the hit Will Ferrell movie Elf? Because we got maple syrup. Here's the thing. This works really well with a lot of breakfast foods. That's my water, says Drew. Okay, Mezzer, you can stop talking. You seem to be having a lot of bad takes. Yes. Okay, I'm gonna say this. If you've only ever had, like, what is it? Fucking, Mrs. Buttersworth and, like, all the, like, that's corn syrup, man. You gotta have real maple syrup. I went to Montreal and had real maple syrup years ago. I have never been able to find that flavor again, except for Vermont. Vermont does it really well. But Canadian maple syrup, where it's made of real maple from the maple trees. Maple syrup is real syrup. Exactly. Yes. Elf is overrated. I will agree, but it is really good. You've made it yourself. That's awesome. Maple syrup is great, but my opinion is it only works on breakfast foods. Maybe desserts, but I feel like with desserts it's too sweet. I feel like that's putting a hat on top of a hat. You're on thin fucking ice. It's good. It's very good. It's not going to go below B tier, but it really only works on pancakes, waffles, and French toast. If there's anything else, it is beyond my comprehension, I guess. Okay, fucking... Hey, for all the pepper fans, we got the salt. We got the salt. We got the salt. Oh, dude, if Slap Your Mamas is on here, that's an instant S tier. Salt. You need salt. If you're not gonna cook with salt, you're fucking crazy. If you're gonna say salt is a fucking low tier condiment, you're crazy. But also, salt being on this fucking list is insane. Like, salt shouldn't be here. Salt is not a condiment. It's a seasoning, but fucking whatever. Fucking sauerkraut's here. Who invited that asshole? We got 2 remaining. Okay, fine. All right. Everyone's gonna fucking point and laugh at me. I don't care what anybody says. Ketchup is an S tier condiment. I don't fucking care what any of you say if you call me a fucking 5-year-old. Ketchup is good. Ketchup is really good. And if you hate ketchup, then I'm sorry that you are miserable at your shitty 9 to 5 and your wife left you and you have 2 mortgages on your house. I'm sorry that I still find whimsy in this really good condiment that I still put on my hot dogs and my hamburgers. So I'm sorry that you're miserable eating your fucking yellow mustard and being miserable that you have a fucking pipe bomb in your mouth. I'm gonna enjoy the wonderful tomatoey goodness that is tomato ketchup. Fuck you. Ketchup or catsup? Okay, Mr. Burns. So I had to adjust my my foot tracker. Where is relish? What was that? I'm mustard gang, no ketchup gang. Well, fuck off. Really? Wow. I'm sorry to disappoint. But the last one on the list, for people who wanted Slap Your Mamas, whimsy for ketchup is crazy. Dude, hating ketchup is crazy. Sorry for all the relish fans. Slap Your Mama. Look, dude, fucking enough people hate ketchup or I gotta fucking defend ketchup. It's ranch. I'm not a huge fan. It's not the worst. It's not the worst. Okay, goddamn, apparently it's the worst for Raven. Again, I don't eat a lot of salads. But even then, when it comes to stuff like hot wings, I avoid ranch. I don't like ranch. I'm not a huge ranch dressing guy. Ranch with veggies, ranch for shitty pizza. Had it with pizza once and never liked it. B for me, only thing I'll eat salads with it. I am going to say, because I personally don't like it, it's going to get knocked down. I'm going to be a little nice. I think that's fair. And there it is, the condiments tier list. How much do all of you want to kill me? What made you disagree with me the most? Was it putting ketchup in S tier? Was it putting salsa con queso in B tier? Was it putting sauerkraut or barbecue sauce or sour cream or honey mustard in C tier? Was it yellow mustard in D tier, Thousand Island in D tier, or mayonnaise in F tier? Put your answer in the comments below and send your death threats to your mom. I'm still mad over sour cream. You can get mad over my dick. Let's find a new one. Okay. Oh, that's so long, but that'd be such a good one. Nah, maybe we'll save that for last. Oh. Oh, do we want the chance to be mean? No. I didn't know you were streaming all these years. I opened Twitch for the first time since like 2023. I'm glad that... Well, hello, Pickley? Please tell me I'm pronouncing that correctly. How you doing, Oomphy? How ya doing? No, I don't want to be mean. I don't want to fucking run the chance of being mean. You know what? Game consoles. We're doing game consoles. I don't know how up to date this is. There's probably no Switch 2. We're fucking starting with the Magnavox Odyssey? It's okay. The Magnavox Odyssey, released in like 1972, I think. Okay, look. I'm gonna say this. Objectively speaking, this is not good. It plays like 3 types of games. It doesn't have graphics. It is dog shit. However, It is iconic as the first commercial home video game console. It predates Atari, it predates most Pong consoles, and it was the first console to be released with interchangeable cartridges. That's what this slot is right here. The controllers were hardwired into the... were they in the back? I think they were into the back of the console. They were hardwired, and they were essentially Pong controllers, where they were these big boxes with 2 dials on the side, one for horizontal and a smaller one for vertical movement. It was a dog shit console. But it was literally the first commercial video game console ever. It innovated in a lot of areas. It was actually a milestone for commercial consumer electronics and video games. If I were to own one, I would be over the moon. Would I play it? Absolutely not. It would sit in a glass case. For its legacy, I'm going to put it in B tier. Because objectively speaking, it is not a great console. For the time, it is great. For the time, it's a wonderful console. Wait a couple of years and get an Atari 2600, and that thing literally is just a piece of shit. Speak of the fucking devil and the bastard will appear. I guess these are in a specific order. We had the Atari 2600. I mean, look. The Atari is one of the most important video game consoles. It is what most people think of when they hear the word video game console, and I think that is for a good reason. This literally took the world by storm. And then he caused the video game crash. So, he's not all good news. The games are super primitive. The company is dog shit. They've run themselves into the ground time and time again. They bait people into buying into nostalgia, but as for this console itself, I mean, it's the Atari 2600. It's good. It's an iconic legend. To shit-talking this thing is like shit-talking an old man, right? Like, what is he gonna do to fight back? Like, are you really gonna disrespect, first of all, the OG, the guy that quite literally got everything started? He's a bit of a dumbass, and he doesn't work too well anymore, but god damn it. You can find some fun on Atari 2600, and you know what's crazy? They're still making Atari 2600 games. You can go to Atari's website and buy official Atari 2600 games to this day, licensed by Atari. It's a real fucking thing. And you know what? That's pretty cool. Oh no, this is in random order. The Nintendo 3DS. I'm going to take a drink real quick before we continue because my throat is dry. So, I personally loved my 3DS. I played my 3DS practically every single day. This was probably my personally most played Nintendo console. And this has some of my favorite games on here. Super Mario 3D Land, Pokemon X, Tomodachi Life, dude. This console is great. Had a horrible launch where it was extremely overpriced and had no support, no fucking games. Remember PS5 has no games? That was the fucking 3DS. This thing had the most miserable launch of any Nintendo console since the Virtual Boy, and we'll get to that asshole later, probably. But the Nintendo 3DS saved itself with a massive price cut and a shitload of games. Mario Kart 7, Super Mario 3D Land, eventually Tomodachi Life, and all the games that I think defined the Nintendo 3DS. It was a gimmick. It was absolutely a gimmick, but it was a gimmick that was more under the hood. Because yes, the 3D thing was an absolute fucking, but under the surface was much more powerful hardware than the Nintendo DS. It wasn't just a Nintendo DS with a 3D functionality, it was a Nintendo DS with more powerful hardware. It was a proper step up. Developers could make games that looked better, ran better, and they had a side benefit of having the capabilities of 3D. Deserves S for Tomodachi Life alone, exactly. Took my new 2DS to my graduation. Yeah, and I'm gonna say this, hot take, the 2DS might be better because the 2DS is basically just a souped up 3DS, especially the 2DS XL. These things got better and better as time went on. I think this is probably Nintendo's peak of handhelds aside from the Nintendo Switch, but I don't really count that because it's more of a hybrid. I mean, fuck. Everyone would do it. Why would I go against the grain? The 3DS is awesome. Okay. The Nintendo 64. What an interesting console. In my opinion, this was the first instance where Nintendo flopped. Because while the Nintendo 64 did good, their decision to make a cartridge-based console after CDs had proven themselves to be the much more viable option for better looking games, even if they had slower load times. Why did my controller just like kind of freak out? There we go. Despite everything revolving the Nintendo 64, I still think this is one of Nintendo's coolest consoles. Like, I feel like Nintendo had some of their peak games. I have a hot take. I like most Nintendo 64 games more than I like most Nintendo GameCube games. I think the Mario parties on Nintendo 64 held up really well. Super Mario 64 was a huge milestone for gaming. Yes, it hasn't aged the best, but most early 3D games don't. Mario 64 was still a legendary title. Mario Kart 64, I feel like, is one of the peak Mario Kart games in the entire franchise. Not yet! I only played it for Mario 64 and Mario Kart. There are a lot of games on here, though, that I think are just excellent. Super Smash Brothers got its start here. I'm looking at my shelf to see, like, what are some of the other Nintendo 64 games I have. Hey You, Pikachu is another game that I think is, like, as gimmicky as it is. It's really fun. Pokemon Coliseum got its start here. So many, like, iconic Nintendo side series got their start on the Nintendo 64. And the 64 is a great console. But again, cartridges. Cartridges are where this thing failed. The PS1 had been out for a certain time. Nintendo had experimented with disc technology, but they threw it all away for cartridges because they had faster load times and they were cheaper to manufacture. No, they weren't cheaper to manufacture. What was I about to say? But I'm going to have a hot take. This controller is fine. People who don't like this controller, I've never used it. This controller is fine. I actually like the Nintendo 64 controller. It fits really comfy in the palm of my hand, and it allows for you to use it in so many different ways. It is not a bad controller. If you don't like it, pick one up for the first time. I think it being origin point of so many game series holds it up. Yes, Nintendo 64 came out in 96, first PlayStation, exactly. And Nintendo had deals with Philips and Sony, but they all fell through. I think this is my personal... What the fuck is this Splatoon break core? The thing that I think scared them off, ironically enough, was the Sega CD. The Sega CD was such a massive flop, and the Saturn was a flop, and Nintendo must have seen that as, those are disc-based consoles, and those full-motion videos look like shit. We'd rather have games that look good. And yeah, I think for the most part, Nintendo 64 games still hold up graphically. They have a old charm to them, but I think they still, for the most part, hold up fine. I think they look just as fine as most PlayStation games. And PlayStation fanboys are gonna fucking crucify me for that. I'm gonna say there are things that held this back that are absolutely Nintendo's fault. I think this was the first instance of Nintendo just being behind the times, and unfortunately because of that, they've set a precedent for themselves where they have now constantly been trying to play catch up. And yeah. But because of the library games and the amount of side series that this spun off that I still love to play to this day, and for the fact that I still love to boot up my Nintendo 64 from time to time, despite its shortcomings, I think the 64 is an A-tier console. I love my 64. I'm gonna be honest, I didn't know what this was. I was like, gray brick? The Nintendo Switch. I mean, would it be over-exaggerating to say this is probably one of the best consoles that's come out in a couple of years? Is that a Switch? I mean, would I be exaggerating? Maybe a little. Come on. This thing was revolutionary. During the era of the Wii U, Nintendo fans got burned. Really, really fucking bad. When the first commercials for this thing dropped, it was a sign of changing times. It was a sign that Nintendo had finally started listening, and they were like, we need to get our shit together and not rely on the Nintendo Wii brand and just make a family console. We need to make something for people, and that's what the Switch was. I touched, but the competition hasn't been that good. The competition didn't start until the fucking Valve, what's it called? The Valve, not the Index. What's it called? Fuck. Or the Steam Deck. The Steam Deck, yeah. Competition didn't start until the Steam Deck. And yes, the Steam Deck is so much more powerful. I can now play Nintendo Switch games on something that isn't a Switch. Good for you. I like my Switch, man. I don't fucking care. I don't care if you call me a Nintendo fanboy. I like my Switch. Just because I'm not gonna fucking get a Steam Deck doesn't mean that, like, I approve of Nintendo's shittier business practices. I'm not gonna fucking dick ride Nintendo, like, just by saying I like my Nintendo Switch. I like my Switch. I played it, like, almost every single day when I got it. No one used the Steam Deck. Yeah. I mean, that's really it, isn't it? I mean, that's the meme, but unfortunately, it's a meme that's just true. No one uses the Steam Deck to play Steam games. They just play fucking emulation games. I mean, look. Who's playing fucking Half-Life on their Steam Deck? Nobody. I love my Switch. I played it every day when it came out. I've admittedly played it less and less as time has gone on, but I've broken it out every now and then. Am I gonna get a Switch 2? Maybe eventually. I don't want to get into that. People get really heated about that. Both Nintendo fanboys and people who fucking despise Nintendo. I don't care if I'm over-exaggerating. I mean, this console, I think, was revolutionary. It outsold the Wii U, I think, in its first couple of months, and it's outsold its competition, like, multiple times, I think, for the most part. I don't know if it sold more than PS5, but I'm damn well sure it sold more than Xbox. My Switch is sitting on my desk with my 2DS XL. They're the only consoles I have not packed away. People like their Nintendo Switches. The Switch is a good console. Stop acting like it's not just because you don't like Nintendo. You can not like Nintendo and also enjoy the games and the consoles. Unlike the Atari Jaguar. Let me take a drink. Actually had a Wii U, but we ended up returning it because it refused to connect to the internet. So, to talk about the sad legacy of Atari as a brand, as a company, and for it all to end with a fart in the tub. This console sucks. What a unique design. What horrible games. And remember what I said about the Nintendo 64 controller? Yeah, cannot say the same about this thing. This thing has the controller layout of a glorified fucking Intellivision. This thing sucks. This thing... Where did you learn to fly? Yeah, you want to talk about the Nintendo 64 still using cartridges during a time where, like, no one was using cartridges? Fucking, okay, this was still, you know, I think this was still Super Nintendo, but PlayStation, Nintendo 64, and Sega Saturn were on their way in, and they were destroying this stupid fucking thing. The Atari Jaguar sucks. It's a bad console, and it is unfortunately the console that killed Atari. The first time Atari died was during the video game crash, something that they helped initiate because they handled the market extremely poorly and allowed for a ton of shovelware video games to be put onto their console without any quality control. The Atari Jaguar is an example of a console that is made by a company that is so out of touch and does not understand anything about what makes video games good, even though they helped cement the video game market in general. How the fuck is this made by the same people that made that thing? I don't know. This thing sucks. I hope Atari stays dead next time. Okay. Xbox. So, Xbox 360. If Xbox had quit while they were ahead, this would have been the console to define a generation. And for the most part, I would say it would. If you were playing Call of Duty, you were playing on an Xbox. If you were playing any big game that was releasing that summer, you were playing it on Xbox. You were playing Halo on this thing. You were playing Gears of War. You were playing Forza. You were playing on this thing. And even though I missed out because I was such a diehard Nintendo fan, I was so convinced the Wii was better, even though it absolutely was not, even if it did sell better. The Xbox reigned champion for the longest time. It put Nintendo, who had been in the game since the 80s, and PlayStation, who'd been in the game since the 90s, to shame. This console redefined everything. HD gaming with a great controller. Yes, it had HD DVD support instead of Blu-ray support. Microsoft bet on the wrong horse. Whatever. And then a little thing called the Kinect came by. And Microsoft just turned into worse Nintendo. Games that only focused on motion control. And bad motion control. Everyone who didn't like the Wii would play the Kinect and would say, wow, that's really cool conceptually. Unfortunately, the thing is built like shit, and its motion technology, its motion detection is super finicky and barely works half the time. Watch JonTron's video about Star Wars Kinect and you will understand everything you need to know. Even better, watch Cat Icarus. The Kinect is not there, I understand that, but the Kinect is a part of the Xbox 360's legacy, and unfortunately, it is a part of the legacy that remains a stain on it. In my honest opinion, if the Kinect did not exist and Microsoft continued to focus on console video games with this controller, it would not have been outsold by PlayStation. Because by the end of all of this, when everything was said and done in, I believe, the 5th or 6th generation of consoles, when the Xbox 360 and the PS3 were butting heads, during this generation, Xbox outsold PlayStation for years. By the end of it, PlayStation won. And I blame the Kinect. Even during the Red Ring of Death, this thing outsold PlayStation because PlayStation 3 was $700 in Canada. Was it in Canada or was it in America? No, that was in America, right? I think it was in America. I blame Kinect for killing Sonic Riders. Fair enough. Had more fun with the iToy. True. Because the iToy knew its limitations. The Kinect did not. It is so sad that this thing's legacy, which would have been known as the greatest console of its generation, in fact, I would say the greatest console of the 2000s, was ruined by a camera. I still think the Xbox reigns supreme, and I still think there are a ton of Xbox 360 games that are worth putting this console in such a high tier, but the Kinect keeps it away from S tier. The Kinect genuinely ruined any chance of this console being as good as it could have stayed. Also, I still have the UI up. God, I am like drying out my throat a ton. How long have I been going for? About 2.5 hours? Yeah, we'll probably do another tier list after this and then maybe call it. Yes, if the Kinect appears by itself, I will bump up the 360. At launch, PS3 received mixed reception, largely due to the high price of $600 equivalent to $930 in 2024. But the 60 gig model sold for, wow. Oh yeah, the $500 20 gig model. That is pathetic. Now to talk about a console that I have a pretty complicated relationship with. My PSP. Really cool console. I like the PSP. PSP is really neat, actually. I think it's a cool handheld with PS2 specs. I mean, that was exactly what this was marketed as. It was marketed as a portable PS2. Excuse me. Christ. GTA 3 on the go. Yep. GTA Chinatown Wars, Liberty City Stories. There were a lot of cool PSP games. This thing had problems. For a game with an analog stick, only having one is kind of a problem because that made some games play a lot worse. And yes, this had PS2 spec graphics, but it just, I don't know. It was okay. It was fine. I don't know. I don't know why, but I still feel like DS graphics kind of hold up better because at least here's the thing. Going into the mentality of PSP games were PS2 games, a lot of developers just kind of made games they either already put on PS2 or would have put on PS2. And I feel like not a lot of them really experimented with styles. Yeah, it had the PS3 hub. And I'm going to say this, UMDs were not it. They were not it. They were bad. UMDs, yes, could hold more information than the DS cartridges, but Sony really wanted these things to be the standard. And they were not. They were, yeah. Yes, cracking your PSP is insanely easier. We're going to get to that in a little bit with another console down the line. PSP emulation is easy. Cracking your PSP is easy. I don't know. I will say this is how I first ever watched the Johnny Depp Willy Wonka movie. So that's something. I don't know. I don't want to be too mean to it by putting it in C, but I also don't know if it's deserving of a B. You know what? I'll be a little nice. I'll be a little nice because I at least had some fun with it. I never played it a lot. It was my dad's. But we got some use out of it. DS carts were goated. All right. You know it. You love it. You threw your remote at it. Okay. I'm going to give a controversial opinion. Possibly. Despite how underpowered it is, despite its menu issues, despite the fact that it is absolutely not deserving of being anywhere in the competition between Xbox 360 and PS3, this thing won and deserved to win. Despite all the shovelware, despite the forced motion controls, this thing had some of the coolest games of all time. You're gonna look me in the eye and say Super Mario Galaxy is not one of the best games of all time? What's wrong with you? This had Super Smash Brothers Brawl. This had fucking this had what many people consider to be the greatest port of Okami. Like, this had Super Paper Mario. This had so many fucking good games. This is the one console that has done movement controls. Yes. And it didn't even do it great, in my opinion. They didn't do it the best, but they did it really damn well. What is the best Pokemon game of the Wii? I don't know. Someone else answer. City Folk. Dude, I played countless hours of Animal Crossing City Folk. The only thing I remember was Wii Sports and Mario. Dude, Wii Sports. Here's the thing. In my opinion, if you're of the opinion that this console is bad because it only appealed to the casual market, go fuck yourself. Because getting the casual market into video games, hot take, not a bad thing. If we get more people into video games through easily accessible video games, that'll eventually want them to try more complicated video games. Your grandma, who has never seen fucking Diablo in her life, is playing new Super Mario Brothers with your little cousin, and she's having a fucking blast. Why are you mad at that? Like, what is your problem with fucking Uncle Tony getting excited that he got a perfect 300 on Wii Sports Bowling? Because what? Just because he's not gonna play fucking League of Legends with you afterwards? Maybe he will one day. It's what helped end the video games need to be destroyed because it's brainwashing. Yes. And yes, again, there were a lot of shovelware games. There were a lot of bad games in general on the Nintendo Wii. The motion controls being forced for the first part of its lifespan, and basically until the end, it sucked. But there were so many good games on the Nintendo Wii. Fucking Metroid Prime 3, I believe. Prime 3, I believe, was on the Wii. I know Metroid Other M was, and everyone hates Other M. The Wii was the first thing I remember. Dude, every time I had friends over, every time I had cousins over, friends, family, even just like my parents and my sister. When I grew up playing the Nintendo, like when I grew up and I was like wanting to play video games, it was so easy to say. Dude, I remember the Christmas I got my Nintendo Wii. You know what I did? I played it with my grandpa, and he picked up on Wii Sports Baseball and boxing like that. What other game console are you going to give a controller to your grandpa and be like, here, grandpa, play with me? And he'll be like, oh, I get this. I can do this super easy. What other fucking console are you going to do that with? Also, Mii's. Mii's are infinitely better than Xbox avatars. I don't care what anybody says. They look better. They have more charm. And even though they're just a menu option to this day, they're still iconic in their own right. I still remember when my father printed out 2 articles when I was a kid to read aloud and how I should stop playing video games full stop when I was 5 to 7. Yeah, exactly. Dude, here's the thing. There are so many good games on the Nintendo Wii that are still talked about. Who talks about the bad games? Nobody talks about the bad games because they're totally forgotten. I don't want to seem like a Nintendo dick rider, but at the same time, how are you going to say the Wii is anything but an S tier? Maybe an A tier at the worst. Okay, now we can be mean to Nintendo. We've had our fun glazing Nintendo. We can be mean. I actually think this console is super overhated. I actually think there's something to be said about the Nintendo Wii U. And it's not that it was a Nintendo Switch predecessor. I actually really enjoyed my Wii U, and my family enjoyed my Wii U. Because unlike most other families, we understood that this was just a new Nintendo console. We understood. And yes, it had a super limited library of games. But I would argue this was when Nintendo was at its peak. They were putting out some of the best games they've ever made. So good that most of its library wound up on the Switch. Because they were like, we put out some of our best games ever on a console that nobody owns. Smash Bros. For Wii U, Pikmin 3, Super Mario 3D World, Nintendo Land, NES Remix, I'm looking at my shelf, Captain Toad Treasure Tracker, Scribblenauts Unlimited, Rayman Origins. In fact, I think it's Rayman Origins. In a multi-gamer household, this design, yes. Wind Waker HD, Twilight Princess HD. This thing may not have had a lot of games, but the games it had were some of the best Nintendo ever made. And I will say this was when Nintendo connected with its audience the most, because they knew if they did not appease the people who were buying the Wii U, the people who were keeping them afloat during a time where they were losing money. And yes, Nintendo has a shit ton of money. They did not need to appease to fans, but they did anyway. They gave fans games that they wanted. And it was only when the Nintendo Switch was ready to launch they started putting out shit for this thing. Mario Tennis Ultra Smash is really bad. Oh, Jesus Christ. Oh, Animal Crossing Amiibo Festival also really fucking sucked. But, I mean, listen to the theme that's playing right now. Smash Bros. For Wii U, it was like one of the biggest fucking releases for the Wii U, and it had it was great. It was a greatly supported game. I legit could just hit the TV button and my dad could have a TV for the Xbox 360 as a kid. 20 years of Mario Tennis Ultra Smash. No! The Wii U was overhated, but it was a really big fart in the tub for Nintendo. I loved it, but even I could admit this thing was just a prototype for the Switch. That is all this ever will be. That is all it was. Oh god, we still have like 30 consoles. Maybe this will be the last tier list we do. We'll have to do this again some other time. Okay, I thought this was one thing. This is another thing. I thought this was the Sega Saturn. Who remembers the Neo Geo? Who remembers the SNK Neo Geo? This console, in my opinion, is super controversial because it antagonized all the other consoles. Oh no, that was the 3DO. Sorry, that wasn't the Neo Geo. That was the 3DO. Now, the Neo Geo, in my opinion, is a really cool console. It had arcade-style graphics. It was made by the fucking creators of most of the best arcade games. It was just a lot. And I mean that in multiple ways. It was a lot for people to take in. It was a lot for the fucking cartridges. It was like $800, I think, at launch. It was like $700 or $800 in like the 90s. That's like $1,000 to this day. Nobody is spending that money on this thing. They're getting a Super Nintendo, they're getting a Super Nintendo or a Sega Genesis. Not this, not this thing. As cool as the Neo Geo was, as awesome as it was to have arcade-style games at home without any compromises, unlike the games like Street Fighter for SNES or Sega Genesis or Mortal Kombat for those consoles, like you could get King of Fighters on the Neo Geo, uncompromised, basically the arcade experience. But for $800, are you really going to spend all that money on fucking King of Fighters? Or Fatal Fury? Yes, those are awesome games. But man, I'll just take the small compromise to play it on my Super Nintendo. It's a great console. It flopped for a reason. There's a reason SNK like made that and the Neo Geo Pocket and nothing else, as far as I know. Speak of the devil, no, I'm kidding. I'm kidding because it's time for the other OG, the Nintendo Entertainment System. I'm gonna be honest. Iconic, very well deserving of its place in gaming history. Is it really all that good? Are these games good? I'm gonna be fully honest. I think NES games are super overrated, and they kind of suck. I mean, I know people like love NES games, and there are good NES games, but it's not even like there's a lot of there are shovelware. Don't get me wrong, but I feel like even some of the most iconic NES games, it's like, what are you gonna fucking play? AVGN became famous for pointing out, yeah, basically. People who are nostalgic for this are getting ready to receive their government benefits. I'm not gonna lie. I have a sizable NES collection, but it consists of Mario 1 through 3, Dr. Mario, Tetris, Yoshi's Cookie, a signed copy of Friday the 13th that is signed by AVGN, and NES Batman. There's a wide library of NES games. And my hip tracker stopped working. Please work. Please clap. Please stop. Come on. You piece of shit. I'm literally moving to try and get you recalibrated. NES is overrated. Other than housing the first Super Mario game, absolutely, I agree. I am so sorry. I don't know why the tracking just randomly stops. Thank you, Tundra. This is a great advertisement. I agree. I fully agree. This console has its place in video game history. It is what saved the video game industry after the video game crash in the 1980s. The Famicom has so much more charm. The Famicom has so much more charm. The console is not as bulky as the NES. The cartridges are so much better because they're so much more compact. I'm not even being like a fucking thing Japan kind of guy, but the thing in Japan is a lot more unique and has so much more personality than a fucking VCR. Yes, Punch-Out. I also do have Punch-Out, actually. This is where Nintendo got its start. This is where they started getting started. So for that, I can't put it anything lower than like an B tier. Yeah. I'm sorry. In the grand scheme of everything, the NES belongs on the tier with the Magnavox Odyssey. The NES belongs on the tier with the Magnavox Odyssey. No, it does not. It belongs on the tier. It belongs in a museum. It belongs on the tier with the Atari. It did more for Nintendo. Where does the Nintendo? It's a Nintoaster, and yes, it works. Okay, we're talking about no games. How about one game? Okay. Not to sound like a Nintendo dick rider. This console is way too overpriced for what it has. Look. Again, I don't want to. If my hip tracker stops tracking one more time, I'm gonna buy my Slime VR trackers right on stream. My Netflix machine. How could they release a console with no games? How could they support a console with no games for like 4 years? The fact that they were already talking about making a PlayStation 6 and there was still the joke of PS5 has no games is laughable. This is a powerful console that costs like $600, right? $500, $600. And it only started getting positive, like really positive overall reception from the wide gaming community when Astrobot released. When Astro's Playroom released, people were like, this is a great tech demo. I want to see more of this. And PlayStation did nothing with it. They had a fresh new IP in their lap, like ready, rip-rearing, ready to go. And they were like, okay, so we're going to port this game. We're going to put GTA 5 on it. We're going to do Red Dead Redemption 2, God of War, Ragnarok, which, hey, God of War Ragnarok's a real good game. That's a really good game. Is that also on PS4, though? Was there like a lower quality version. I don't think there was. They got angry that the devs said you shouldn't crunch your game devs to death. Yeah, and it became their best-selling game on this fucking console. Sony sucks. While playing anything on the PS5, and I have an entire library of games on disposal of my Xbox. The only thing I play on is San Andreas, and on top of that, this is the point where they are overcharging for their subscriptions. The PS4 was a great console, in my opinion. I love the PS4. I have a PS4. I still use my PS4. The PS5 is not the successor. C tier. That's a C tier. How are you gonna have a console with no games on it for how many years? Also, their fucking what is it? Where they made it more scarce than it was, like intentionally. Fuck off. You know what? Yeah. You know what? For that fact alone, for the fact that it was so hard to get it because they just would not manufacture more and they allowed scalpers to get away with that shit. Fuck you, D tier. Is there anything you can really say about the Game & Watch? I mean, it's a Game & Watch. Here's the thing. I have heard that if you actually own a Game & Watch, it is a really unique experience. This is a game console, or these are game consoles like no other. They don't provide an experience you can get with anything else. If you say Tiger Electronics, I'm going to throw you in a fucking pit. Yeah, it is a Game & Watch. And sure enough, look, I mean, what was it? Yamauchi, I believe, had the idea for this. I could be totally wrong. But the man who invented this saw a guy on a train fiddling with a calculator, and he was like, what if we gave him a game? What if he had a game so small it could fit in his pocket, like a businessman on a train, and he could just take it out and just beep, 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 beep. And they made this. Now look, it didn't catch on that much in America. And I don't know if it really caught on that much in Japan. I think this is a legendary console that I feel like needs... It's important to talk about it in the discussion of video game history. That being said, is it that great? No. Get a Game Boy at this point. If you want a retro game console that allows for that type of fun, get a Game Boy, get the Game & Watch collection, or even better, get a Nintendo DS. You get those games, and with modified versions that are updated with updated graphics and music, but I would love to own one. There were a few for sale at Too Many Games. I didn't pick them up because they were super expensive. Also, it'd be really cool to own one of the American ones because in America, they were renamed to Timeout Games. That would be kind of cool to own as well. What the fuck are you? Hey, while I take a drink, can someone tell me what this thing is? This isn't a Neo Geo Pocket, I know that, but what is this thing? Someone's gonna say Nokia N-Gage, and I'm gonna be really mad because I know what that looks like. What is this? Okay, okay, as much as I love my Black Mesa Silly Straw, this thing sucks. Looks like if someone tried to make a controller out of a Nokia phone. Quick, I'll move out of the way. Somebody reverse image search. I think I'm moving out of the way. Nope, I'm moving into it. Somebody reverse image search it. Do it. What does that say? Texas Instruments. What the fuck? Is that actually what it is? Mezzer, is that what it is? Is this did Texas Instruments make a game console? What? No, I'm joking. Thank God. I feel like I can kind of read it. Dude, I genuinely believed you. That's the fucked up part. I genuinely believed you. Because I was like, wait a second. Really? Texas Instruments? Is this a TI Game Boy? The Turbo Express. Who made the Turbo Express? NEC. Who is NEC? Hold on. I'm doing a Google search. 16-bit handheld by NEC Electronics. Oh, it's a portable TurboGrafx 16. Okay. Wow. It's not even in the fucking discussion. This man was not in the room where it happened. Okay. Who wants to get spicy? Is anyone gonna get upset that I put the fucking Turbo Express? Sega CD is the reason why Sega failed. Sega CD, Sega Saturn. Sega Saturn is the entire reason why Sega does not exist as a console manufacturer today. And that is an opinion I do stick with for the longest time. No, because the Dreamcast was good. Because I will stand by, I do believe the Dreamcast was a good console. I think that this was what killed them. I think this was the beginning of the end, rather. The Dreamcast had a weird controller, yes. Sega subpar. S tier. Oh, S tier. Oh, I am the Sega Dick Rider. Hi, Gay Rat. How you doing? It didn't sell, though. No, it didn't sell at all. This thing has its place in Sega's history. Not for a good reason. This thing fucking it slopped. It didn't slop. It did flop, though. F-Zero? What? Captain Falcon? Rat, I will hear you out. Ladies and gentlemen, in the chat, funny gay rat. Rat, tell me why this doesn't deserve, because I'm going to be honest, I don't hate the Saturn. It's just, it underperformed because in my opinion, it is a whelming console. It's not underwhelming, it's not overwhelming, it is a whelming console. I was originally going to put it in B or C tier. Tell me why I shouldn't. Or tell me why I should. Yo, Richie, what's going on? If you don't put PS1 in S tier, oh no, dude, PS1's awesome. No, we'll get to PS1 when we get to PS1, but it's not going in like a low tier. Sonic Jam, did Sonic Jam even come out? It did. No, so it was Sonic Extreme that got canceled. If you don't talk about Palmer Silver dies in 3DO, shows up. Oh, we'll get to the 3DO, don't you worry. Are you going, Rat, are you going to defend the Sega Saturn? Or are you just like, did you just want to make your comment about PS1? Saturn is B tier, it's quirky and fun, Sonic Jam carried. Yeah. You know what? I will agree with you there. Sonic Jam's a good enough game. It carried a console that otherwise failed, and it was the only game, exactly. And I do stand by the opinion, the Sega Saturn is the reason why Sega started failing. Nobody cared about the Sega Saturn, and then nobody cared about the Dreamcast because the Dreamcast was not the direction that Sega needed to take. And we'll get to that when we get to the Dreamcast. Okay. I have quite a bit to say about this. The Nintendo Game Boy. Now, let me get this out of the way. Going good, just big challenge. Hell yeah, console tiers. Yeah, I just for the first hour and a half, I talked about my experience at Too Many Games, and we just did a condiment tier list. I think we had the biggest disagreements. Don't you have work tomorrow? No, actually, I don't have work tomorrow. I took off because I have a doctor's appointment in the morning. I'm probably gonna take a small break after this, and then maybe hop back on. Maybe, we'll see. I was gonna come bother you in VR soon. Night Travel on Sega CD sucked. Okay, here's my thing. This thing had two massive competitors. The Sega, holy shit, the Starman. The Sega Game Gear and the Atari Lynx. Yes, I'm counting the Atari Lynx. It was a competitor. Those consoles had color screens, higher fidelity games. There we go. Higher fidelity games, better sound chips. This thing kicked ass until the GameCube. They were still selling this thing brand new until the GameCube. And there's a reason, in my opinion. There's a good reason that the gay bitch continued to sell. And it's because this thing didn't just do portability, they did it with the lowest possible means of getting a good experience portable. Yes, Super Mario Land does not look anywhere near as good as any Sega Game Gear game. But you needed like 6 AA batteries for a Sega Game Gear, and it drained those bitches in a couple of hours. A Game Boy could last you almost the entire day on 4. And not only that, but the games they made for this thing were fun. And to quote the Tetris movie starring Taron Egerton, if you want to sell a couple 100,000 Game Boys, you sell it with Mario. If you want to sell millions, you put it with Tetris. Tetris on the Game Boy, I'm going to say this, Tetris hard carried. I will not be shy to say it. Tetris hard carried the Game Boy. Like, it is the reason the Game Boy ever sold. No, it didn't survive a nuclear bomb. It survived a grenade. I have seen that Game Boy. It is in the Nintendo store in New York City. It currently resides there. It still works. It still powers on, and it's currently playing a demo of Tetris. This was the first game console to go to space. The Russian astronaut who took this into space said, I enjoyed my time in space in zero gravity playing on my Nintendo Game Boy. If he took a Sega Game Gear, what the fuck would he be playing? Whatever Sonic game was on there for like 5 minutes and then it would die? This isn't the Game Boy I grew up with. I grew up with the Advance SP as well. This thing has earned its fucking medals of honor. I feel like to this day, you can even still get a lot of good experiences out of the Game Boy. Because it is such an underpowered console, however, I'm gonna stick it in A tier. It is a legendary console that deserves to be respected. There are other handheld consoles that came after it that absolutely wiped the floor with it. It is a legend of its time, much like the NES, much like the Xbox 360, and much like the Atari 2600. I just like the Nintendo 64, that's why it's there. Alright, we have about 20 more consoles to go. I'm going to try and speed through the ones I don't have a lot to say about it, much like the TurboGrafx 16. Hey, do you guys like Bonk? Do you like Bonk and Bonk 2? It had some good graphics, but it got fucking squashed by the Sega Genesis and the Super Nintendo. And rightfully so. Games came on cards. How are you gonna fucking cards? Jesus Christ. Okay, we want to talk about consoles that revolutionize. Let's talk about the Nintendo DS for a little bit. So, base Nintendo DS, bulky. It had a really rough solution to no analog sticks. I loved my Nintendo DS. So much so that when, funny story, when I was younger, my dad, without me knowing, traded in my Nintendo DS for a Nintendo DSi and made me think that I lost it because he was a funny guy. I almost sobbed because I loved my Nintendo DS. I still love the Nintendo DS. Game Boy Advance compatibility, great games. The fact that this handheld could easily do 3D, like fully in-depth 3D games, for it to basically flawlessly run Super Mario 64 with additional content was insane. That was only a game that came out like what, 10 years prior? Not even. How the hell did we have the technology to make a fully 3D game on a console, and then 10 years later you could bring it with you on the school bus? I love the limited 3D on the 3DS. Yes, there were so many good games, and much like the Nintendo Wii, there it is, there was a lot of shovelware. But also like the Nintendo Wii, there were so many good games on the Nintendo DS. Fucking hell, how do you hate it? Mario and Luigi partners in time. The Mario and Sonic the Olympic Games ports on the DS, which were great in their own right. Mario Kart DS, are you fucking kidding me? In my opinion, the greatest Mario Party game of all time was released on this console. Mario Party DS sweeps every other Mario Party, in my humble opinion. You could fight me if you want. You can fight me. I love the DS. DS is great. Okay. Xbox. So I'm gonna be real. What can you say about the original Xbox? What can you say? It's got a bulky controller that nobody likes. Nobody likes the Duke, except for people who, I swear to God, are just like, the Duke is really good. No. This thing is like Dreamcast 2. That's insane to say, but you're kinda right. You might be correct. Oh, hello? Glamrock Bonfi VR, hello, and thank you so much for the follow. Great intro, great hub, introduced Halo and other games. Yes, this thing set the standard. This thing was the ground floor for Microsoft to get into the game. Was it a great console, though? No. In the same way that I feel like Nintendo needed to make the Wii U in order to make the Nintendo Switch, Microsoft needed to make the Xbox in order for them to make the 360. Was it better than the other consoles at the time? No. No, it was not. It was not better than the GameCube. It was not better than the PS2. Definitely not better than the PS2 by a long fucking shot. Yeah, it's got great games on it. Great games that you could play on your PS2 for the most part. Yes, you couldn't play Halo. And I think Forza and Gears also got introduced on this. What fucking song is this from? It's fucking Splatoon. Anytime I'm like, oh, what is this fucking, what game is this song from? This isn't that good. It's of course, it's fucking Splatoon. There we go. Thank you. Save me, Sonic. It's fine. Not fine enough. Okay. Fitting, really fitting. Let's talk about the Sega Genesis or the Sega Master. No, sorry, it wasn't called the Sega Master System. What was it called in the UK and Europe? Mega Drive, the Sega Mega Drive, or the Sega Genesis as it's more commonly referred to. This was the wake-up call Nintendo needed. In my opinion, Nintendo was coasting along with the NES, and the Sega Master System came out, and everyone was like, "That's cool. All right, I'm going back to my NES." This was the first time a console had come out when Nintendo was king, where everybody was like, oh, okay, maybe I should get this. This was such a kick in the pants for Nintendo that they had to make the Super Nintendo. This thing was the competition that Nintendo, and I'm going to bring up Nintendo a lot because back during this day, it was Nintendo or nothing. This put Sega on the map. And yeah, we gotta talk about it. Sonic the Hedgehog. Sonic has earned his place as a video game icon, and he got his start here with 3 really, really good games. They did so much for the Sega Genesis. They did too much for the Sega Genesis. Because in my opinion, much like how the Xbox 360's legacy was tarnished by the addition of the Kinect, which then made Microsoft just turn to a diet Nintendo. This thing was on life support when the Sega CD arrived. Now, the Sega CD was a good add-on. Don't get me wrong, there were good games for the Sega CD. But it was so obvious that Sega was just trying to improve the longevity of the Sega Genesis because they didn't want to abandon their really good horse in the race. When the Sega 32X came out, that was it. There was no hope for this thing. This thing was beyond redemption. This thing had run its course and everybody was getting ready. Sega was getting ready to move on. But in a desperate attempt to just one last attempt to make it so that the Genesis was just the console everyone had to add, they were like, now you can play 32-bit games. They suck, but you know, you can play 32-bit games. The Sega Genesis is a legendary console. I think it still has some of the best games. I play more Sega Genesis games than I do Super Nintendo games, and that's saying something. I don't own a single Sega CD game, and I never will. And you would not catch me dead with a Sega 32X game. This thing had a great legacy that was ultimately tarnished because the company did not know when to pump the brakes on trying to keep this alive and instead focus their efforts on their next big thing. And their next big thing is right here in fucking B tier. B tier. I'm going to be fair. And because I gave it the same criticisms as the Xbox 360, I'm putting it in the same tier because much like the 360, it's a legendary console that absolutely earned its place as one of the most iconic game consoles of all time. It's a legacy that was ruined, however, by a shitty add-on. It is literally the same tale as the Xbox 360. Is this more fucking split? No, it's ARMS music. Yeah, guys, you know ARMS? You know Alf? He's back in ARMS form. All right, we got 19 more games. Good lord. Oh my god, really? You're here? Okay, guys, who wants to talk about the Atari 7200? Whoa, raid! Sheep! Thank you for the raid of 12. How is Voices of the Void? How you doing? Hello, everybody. My name is LoppearLink. I'm a variety PNG tuber. I play a lot of games, usually silly little Nintendo games. We're playing some VRChat right now. We're doing a tier list on video game console rankings. Sheep, how was Voices of the Void? We're talking about the Atari 7800. Ooh, they were wet from the gutter with Atari 5200, weren't they? Yikes, the Atari 7800. This is bad. This was the sign that Atari was just going to keep on floundering, wasn't it? The fact they were so desperate for your money, they made this backwards compatible with 2600 games, and that meant they had to make the cartridges for the 7800 games the same fucking sizes and dimensions. Ooh. Ooh, they had it bad. Ooh, they knew they fucked up. This thing is just so pathetic. What a pathetic attempt for Atari to save themselves. That really sucks. Okay, interesting. On the Atari 7800, I remember it like it was yesterday. It was yesterday, Sheep. But you could throw a beer in it. No, that's the 5200. You're talking about the 5200. Now I'm talking about, I'm talking about the Intellivision. No, is this the Intellivision or is this the ColecoVision? This is the Intellivision, pardon me. I'm going to be honest. Of the two Atari competitors of the Intellivision and the ColecoVision, the Intellivision is the worst of the two. It has hardwired, shitty controllers. It has really bad games. It's just not it's a really nice looking console. I want to say this looks better than the Atari 2600 in my opinion. This is a beautiful console. I own an Intellivision. It's a really nice looking console. I enjoy it visually. Oh my god, what a fucking piss poor attempt. It's like sticking your dick in a Cheerio. I got mine for 20 bucks. What the fuck are you doing here? Oh, the Xbox 360 revision. Now this changes a lot of things because I believe this was called the Xbox 360S, I believe. So, boo, D, F, Cake. Hi, Cake Cauldron. How you doing? Thank you for the raid of 28. How was Art? How you doing, Blair? What's the difference? Still have this around my place. Damn, 2 raids in a row. Yeah. Hi. Hello, everybody. My name is LoppearLink. I'm a variety PNG tuber. I play a bunch of games, usually silly little Nintendo games. Tonight we're doing some VRChat. I was talking earlier about my experience at Too Many Games. Now we're ranking Too Many Game consoles. How you doing, Cake? So what is the difference? Aside from I know the fact that came first. Pikmin music. That came first. That had the ring of death. This revised it. What's so bad about it? Drawing large creatures. Is the sky still blue? Yes, it is. Is there grass on the ground? Yes, there is. Is there water in the ocean? Less likely to get the red ring of death. This, I believe, was the console, however, that did introduce the Kinect. Well, I'm genuinely curious why we got so many negative. It removed crossplay with the original Xbox. I see. Okay, I'm gonna do something. Because this bastard was the one that red ringed all the time. Yeah, I don't have any regrets about that. This, however, is going to take its place because everything I said about the 360, it basically applies to this. That thing had the red ring of death. That thing didn't. That had all the same games. It removed crossplay with the Xbox, but who the fuck is going to play Xbox games? You're gonna play 360 games. Okay, where's Rat? Someone get Rat here. Someone get Rat back in chat. We got the PS1. And before we talk about this, I do want to take another drink. Unless there were other differences between the Xbox 360 and the 360X. Okay. I am gonna say, I'm here. Awesome. Yeah, this thing kicked ass. I love the PS1. The PS1, despite it being a 32-bit game system, because it's not a 64-bit, despite coming out just a little bit before the Nintendo 64, this thing fucking rocks. This thing has some of the best games of all time on it, and I will not hesitate, and I will not understate that. PS1, awesome, right? Good job. The PS1 put Sony on the map, and it is honestly amazing that Nintendo almost made this theirs. This was almost the Nintendo PlayStation. Nintendo had the chance to make a baller fucking console with amazing capabilities, graphical capabilities, and hardware capabilities that they were not able to compete with for an entire generation because they were so confident that the Nintendo 64 was going to make it by name recognition and bits alone. This console, rightfully, in my opinion, as someone who loves the Nintendo 64, rightfully kicked ass. It put PlayStation on the map, rightfully so. It has a myriad of games that to this day still hold up incredibly well. Crash Bandicoot, Spyro the Dragon, Ape Escape, Lego Racers, although that did come out on the Nintendo 64, Gran Turismo, I mean, it's a racing game, what are you gonna fucking do? Final Fantasy VII is considered by many to be the greatest RPG of all time. It's on the fucking PlayStation. It infamously would have taken, I think, 30 Nintendo 64 cartridges to put, I think, half the game on the Nintendo 64. Gran Turismo is okay, fine. Gran Turismo's fucking cool. I don't care about Gran Turismo personally, but I know a lot of people like Gran Turismo. Silent Hill, hello. Oh my goodness, I'm so going to mispronounce this name. Ben Lash Lol. Thank you so much for the follow. I'm not a Gran Turismo fan, but fucking I know people love it. Okay, I'm gonna say this. The controller sucked. The first iteration of the controller sucked. The second iteration, the DualShock, better. It's a SNES controller with handles. I don't think there's any other way to put it. It is a SNES controller with handles and extra trigger buttons. Am I wrong? You can't say I'm wrong. That's literally all it is. There's really nothing bad you could say about it. Even the revision looks and plays really well, and it's got the fucking LCD screen. Yeah, I can't put it in anything else. It's got to go in S tier. PS1 is awesome. We get it. You're dumb. You know what, Rat? I don't have to fucking take this from you. I can take away your VIP status. Oh, hey, we were just shit-talking this thing a little bit ago. Let's continue. The Sega Game Gear. Okay. Other than being a Pepsi Man game. Yeah, I fucking love Pepsi Man. You know what? That earns its place in S tier. Sega Game Gear is really cool. I'm going to say this. Sega Game Gear is a really cool console. It's a powerful handheld. It does a lot for handheld gaming. It underperformed to the Game Boy, and I understand why. In the grand scheme of things, it was a pretty good handheld. Could not beat that fucking brick. I don't know. Game Gear's fine. I'm not crazy about the Game Gear. Like, I'm not gonna fucking praise it like I did the Game Boy, because in my opinion, this thing doesn't have, it didn't earn a legendary status like the Game Boy. It earned a status in the history of Sega, not in the history of video games. This thing is a footnote in the history of video games. Because I feel like people who really had Sonic 2 with the bad ending where Tails dies. It's a good console. It's if Sonic 2 with the bad ending is the only thing this thing has, then it's a C tier. Okay. Okay. I'm interested to see what conclusion I come to with this, because I like the PS3. I like the PS3. This is PS3 in general. This isn't just the the revision of PS3. PS3 is a really good console. This is the console that beat the Xbox 360, mind you. Way too overpriced when it came out. Way too overpriced when it came out. It got its ass kicked when the 360 came out, because the 360 showed that people wanted better games with the similar graphical capabilities, but not as expensive and with a much more user-friendly everything. Developers did not want to develop for this thing because Sony was so fucking sure that developers would flock to them because the PS1 and the PS2 were such big hits. This thing was $700. It was $1,000 in today's money. No one's paying that for this fucking thing. Blu-ray capability, awesome. Backwards compatibility with PS1 and PS2 games originally, awesome. $700? Really? And this thing was just not worth it in the beginning. You needed to wait for the price cuts and the revision. The heater that people claimed was a game console. Backwards compatibility, this had at one point was wild. Yep. Yes. So here's the thing. When they cut the price and when they took a lot of the shit out of it didn't need, this thing sold like hotcakes because that fucking guy right over there, that fucking guy started playing to the casual market in a manner that would make Nintendo blush. Realistically speaking, and to end with The Last of Us, which between you and me, they have been over-reliant on. Please make other games, Naughty Dog, and stop relying on fucking one good game and one decent game. For this to end with The Last of Us, which people to this day say is one of the greatest games of all time, the PS3... because in a weird way, its legacy is the inverse of the 360 because it had a bad start with a great ending while the 360 had a great start with a bad ending. I'm going to put it on the same tier. These things coexisted for the same amount of time. Please let The Last of Us die. Please don't even make Last of Us 3. Just stop making them. Just please kill it all. Kill it all. Drop a fucking nuke. I would say... I think it's fair to put them on the same tier because they had an inverse legacy existing around the same time. They came out with a really, really bad marketing decision to make an expensive console that nobody wanted. Ultimately, however, ending on a really high note with a great console that everybody loved that was also a Blu-ray player. 360 didn't fucking do that. Oh, here he is. Here he is. About time the 5200 showed up. Oh man, oh man. Wait a second. Is this the 5200 or the 7800? Oh my god, did I put the 7800? Wait a second. Is that the 7800? Is this the... Who are you? Xbox has not won against PlayStation a single time. No, they have not. They started winning with the 360 versus PS3, but at the end of it all, PlayStation 3 outsold 360. Who are you? That is the 7800. Or no, sorry, that is the 5200. How many Ataris are there? 2600, 2600, 5200, 7800, the Lynx, the Jaguar, and I think that's about it. Maybe another one in there. I don't know. This was what killed Atari. This console sucked. Barely worked. Horrible games. Nobody likes it. This came out around the same time as the NES, I believe. Who owned a 5200? This killed Atari, man. Wait a second. No. Yeah. I was gonna say, is that an Intellivision? But no. That is very much a 5200. I'm very confident in saying that's a 5200. Oh. How many of you guys like Regular Show? How many of you guys like the fact that the only reason this console is even somewhat culturally relevant is because of Regular Show and Brazil? So, okay. The Sega Master System is an interesting console. I find it really charming. This thing is such a... How do you describe the visuals of this thing? It's a lot. It's a lot, but it's a good lot. Hello, I'm Aaron the Bunny. Or I'm Aaron the Bun. I want to bring up that the top 10 most sold console of all time has Xbox One's on the list. Everything else is Nintendo and Sony. Yeah, I'm not surprised. This was an okay console. Again, here's the thing. Kind of like with the Game Gear, this is a footnote in the... This is a legacy in the history of Sega, a footnote in the history of gaming as a whole. Yeah, the game box art was interesting. It had the card reader. You know what other console had a card reader? We put it right here. At the very least, it wasn't the only fucking games that it had was on fucking cards. Again, its legacy lives on in being the console that Mordecai and Rigby use in regular show, which is kind of cool. And it also exists in, like, it apparently really took off in Brazil. Why aren't I on screen for the TTS? I'm sorry, Brazil. Why are you... Oh, you're not a 360. You're the Xbox One. Okay. Okay. This is where every Xbox owner lied to themselves and said this was a really good console, and that Xbox was still in the game, wasn't it? Ooh, man, oh man. Yeah, first of all, there's an Xbox 360 that looks exactly like this, and it fucking sucks. You want to talk about the worst opening marketing strategy of all time? How about forced connect capability, and you have to be online to even use this thing? This thing sucked. This sucked so hard, Microsoft had to backpedal so goddamn hard and say, no, you don't need to connect. You don't need to connect. It comes with the Connect, but the Connect is a bonus gift. This thing sucks. What games came out for this? What games came out for this fucking thing that weren't on everything else? What? A Halo game? A Gears of War game? Microsoft was so out of touch. Rise, Son of Rome? Richie, I love you, man. What is Rise, Son of Rome? I don't know about you, man, but I don't see the main character from Rise, Son of Rome ever being considered for fucking Smash Brothers. What a pathetic fucking console. What a downstep from this, and even what a downstep from this. You know what? Fuck it. I'm putting no, I think I just got to put the fucking one in D tier. What a sad fucking console. Max will make you happy. Gay Rat, thank you so much for the 11 months. Enjoy your piss. We got 10 more. Oh, fuck, really? Okay, cool. Hey, what is this one called again? The fridge? But genuinely, which one is this? Is this the... Oh my god, what is this? Not the Series X, right? What is this? Everyone calls it the fridge. Everyone calls it the fridge. The monolith. The Kingpin in Spider-Verse. Fuck off. That is the Series X? Okay, that is the Series X. What a stupid fucking console, man. What a stupid fucking console. Really? This is your design? This is what you're going with? Man, I hate to say it. Can you tell that Microsoft is just relying on Game Pass at this point? What a dumb fucking console. What came out for that? What you want to talk about? What came out for that? What came out for this? What's on this? What do you play on this? What do you play on this? Netflix? Certain Purple Bunny bought a mini fridge that was just that made by... Oh yeah, I know. I will say this. I will give Microsoft this. They were fully aware that this thing was stupid and they ran with it, and I'll give them credit for that. But what do you fucking play on this? Yes, the Series S is much better. It's smaller with the same capabilities, blah, blah, blah. What games are on this thing? What's on this? What do you play? Except for Call of Duty. And fucking Halo, what's the new Halo game? Forza. Awesome. Cool. Fuck you. You're a D tier too. You're almost an F tier, I'd say. What a stupid fucking console. Okay. Oh. All right. This can go one of many ways. This can go one of many, many ways. Because I'm going to say this. It failed. And it was the last thing Sega ever did for console. I like the Dreamcast. No, it's not S tier. It's not S tier. I wouldn't say it's S tier. I do think it's a really unique and a really cool console with a lot of good games on it. It does have a lot of good games on it. Dreamcast is really awesome. I actually almost got a black Dreamcast. It was like a Sega Sports Dreamcast. It looked really... I actually liked it better than the white one because it looked really slick. It had this really nice matte black plastic. It was really cool. I didn't get it, and then someone else picked it up in the meantime. Nintendo Wii fell in my head when I was a kid. It said Sonic Adventure Shenmue. Didn't it have Crazy Taxi? It had Crazy Taxi, didn't it? It had some really good games. It had Sonic Adventure 1, Sonic Adventure 2. Opinions on those games aside. It had really good games. Dreamcast Beast Mode. It had Seaman. It had Seaman. Everybody loves Seaman. Even if nobody really likes Seaman all that much. Oh, man. Thank you for plugging a Pikmin Knives. Hi, Knives. How you doing? You're catching us at the tail end of a tier list, and that's this is probably going to be the wrapping up of the stream. Jesus Christ, we're going for 3.5 hours. The Link jump scare. Really cool console. It is the reason that Sega just, like, they gave up. They gave up, but they made a really good at the very least, they didn't go out with the fucking Saturn. Where did I put the Saturn? At the very least, they didn't go out with the fucking Sega Saturn. Where did I put the They didn't go out with the Saturn. If they went out with the Saturn, Sega's legacy would be a lot more embarrassing. This is an A-tier console. This is an A-tier console. I'm not putting it in S tier. I don't think it deserves S tier. It is an A-rank console. Segata Sanshiro. Love Segata Sanshiro. Oh my god, I was joking when I thought you were going to be on the list.
I'm on a Nokia Engage, Dad.
We're not... No. No, it is not indestructible. Fuck off. Alright, get the redeem ready. Just do it. Do it. Do it. Do it. Do it. 3, 2, 1. Really? There it is. The Nintendo Shit Cube. Can I give a hot take and say that this is a little overrated? I love the GameCube. Don't get me wrong. I love the GameCube. I love the games on the GameCube. Mario Strikers, Mario Baseball, Mario Power Tennis, Pikmin 1, Pikmin 2, fucking, what else? SpongeBob Battle for Bikini Bottom, I guess. What is on my GameCube collection right now? Sonic, Sonic Heroes. Simpsons Hit and Run, Super Smash Brothers, Melee, Super Mario Sunshine, Luigi's Mansion. Great fucking games. Mario Party 4 through 7. Shut up, sheep. The controller is really good. The controller is really good. Is it a controversial opinion to say that I think the controller is the most overrated controller of all time and there are much better controllers out there? Is it controversial to say that this console helped set Nintendo back an entire console generation because they went with mini CDs? Is it controversial to say that... Is it controversial to say this console is overrated? It's had the 1,000-Year Door, which is one of my favorite RPGs of all time. I believe there were Fire Emblem games that came out for this. Legend of Zelda Wind Waker. I'm giving more and more reasons to put this in S tier because this is just one of the greatest. Good night, Croa. Sephiroth. Twilight Princess. People are going to say I'm a Nintendo glazer. People are going to say that I'm just following the crowd. The GameCube has some of the best games of all time. It's a really good fucking console. It has a lot of good games. It's fun. It holds up really well to this day. Shut up. Dude, it has Pokemon Channel. It has Pokemon Channel. You know, one of the few games you cannot stream on Twitch because it automatically copyright strikes the fucking anime footage because it's really from the Pokemon anime. So much so that a YouTuber named KK Glue had to make a patch for it so you could stream it. Did you know? Hi, Squeaks. Let's see. What is a good did you know? Looking around my room for something. Oh, sorry. I also just need to take the headset off for a second. Did you know that originally the purple Pikmin were not supposed to be purple? Kind of following in the theme of the white Pikmin, purple Pikmin were originally supposed to be black, but Nintendo thought it was, like, really hard to, like, see them in some of the darker areas, and they just liked the idea of purple Pikmin instead. They were going to function exactly the same, however, they just had a different color palette, but eventually they changed it to purple, kind of towards the end. PS2 also needs to be S tier. We'll get there when we get there. Backwards compatible with the GBA. That is true, I guess. I guess so. Could be racist. What is this again? PS4. It's a console. It's a console with a lot of good games. Spider-Man. The PS4. It's got Spider-Man. I played Back to the Future by Telltale on it. It had The Last of Us on it, like 5 times. It had... This is where I first beat GTA 5. I like the DualShock 4 controller. I think it's a unique design. I had fun with it. I think it's a C-tier console. What are you? What? Did someone tell me what this thing is? Oh my god, is this the game? No, this isn't the Gamecom, is it? This is an SNK? What is this? Sheep, you like SNK, what is this? fucking sheep and me going, SNK! Oh my god, I love Terry Bogard! I don't know it. And if I don't know it, then it didn't really perform all that well, did it? Why am I, like, kind of squatted? Hold on. It's because my foot trackers keep rotating. God. Thank you, trackers, for staying so consistently on my bike. That's not the tracker's fault. That's the straps. We got 4 more. Okay. You know how the PSP's whole thing was it was a PS2 on the go? This was a Super Nintendo on the go. And I'm not gonna lie, I had more fun with this thing. I played my GBA, specifically the SP. I had an AGS 101 SP. Still have it to this day. I just need to get the shell replaced because it is cracked. GBA is fucking goated. GBA is fucking goated. I love the GBA. It has some of the coolest portable games of all time on it. This is where I think Pokemon hit its peak. I'm sorry for all the DS Pokemon fans. That was the beginning of the end. Pokemon Fire Red, Pokemon Fire Red, Pokemon Leaf Green, Pokemon Emerald, Pokemon Ruby, Pokemon Sapphire. Let's see, the Mario Advance games, the Mario vs. Donkey Kong games really hit their stride here on this console. It is the worst video game I've ever seen, which is Crazy Taxi. Fair enough. The screen dimensions are weird because I believe this is like, it's not 4x3. Excuse me. It's not 4x3, it's more 1-to-1 if anything, which is super fucking random. And I'm sorry, but the charm of Game Boy Advance video is something I think I will never hate. They could never make me hate you, GBA video. I think I loved it as a child. I loved my GBA. It's where I beat Super Mario Bros. 3 and Super Mario World for the first time. Would you guys be mad if I put it in S tier or A tier? What tier would you guys be less mad at me for? I don't care, but what do you guys think? The crustiest way. Dude, the crustiest way to watch Shark Tale and Shrek. S tier A, put that shit in S. I think I gotta. think I have an obligation. Also, we got purple next to purple. We got 3 more. Okay. Where's Gobbo Nikki? Because as lovingly as possible, I want to say that she glazes this console so goddamn much. And for a good reason. PS Vita is a really cool console. Can I make a controversial opinion and say that the only reason people really like this console nowadays is because it's so easy to mod? And it is actually painfully easy to mod this thing. To the point where you can turn it into basically a low-tier Steam Deck. Oh, the Vita was cool. I will admit, the Vita was the first time where I, as a 3DS owner and a constant Nintendo fan, turned my head to the other side of, like, you know, Sony, and I said, oh, that's actually really cool. And this thing did not perform well. Keep in mind, this didn't perform well. But it had a lot of really cool capabilities that I think if Sony really just focused more on this and did more with the Vita, it would have smashed the 3DS. Absolutely fucking destroyed the 3DS. But like everyone is saying, what did this have? Sony did not have the effort to put into this thing, I think because they just thought it was going to sell. I think they had the PS3 mentality of this is going to sell because it is a Sony console. We just released the PS4. That's been a huge hit. I'm sorry, Vita. I'm not counting the modding scene because if we're counting the modding scene, dude, the 3DS is going in S plus tier. Do you know what you could do with a modded 3DS? That shit's insane. We're not doing modded though. Just at its core, it's fine. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. It's okay. Giving you a swirly for putting the PSP in Vita. Hey, what's going on, Astral? How you doing? Well, fuck you. Maybe they should have made more games for it. Maybe they should have given it a second fucking analog stick. Maybe it shouldn't have lost to the fucking... Did it lose to the DS? I think it lost to the DS. Sly 4. 2 more. Okay. Everybody check your attics now, because you'll find one of these in here. Excuses, swirly time, nerd. Okay, I'll be fucking give me a swirly while I'm playing Ghost Trick Phantom Detective. Okay, you enjoy what is it, Jax? There's not even Daxter, or is it Daxter with no Jax? Anyway, PS2. I mean, it's the fucking PS2. I think, genuinely speaking, you can't, like, put it in a low tier. Like, that was the console that fucking destroyed. It is the greatest selling game console of all time for a good reason. It has some of the greatest games of all time on it. The PS2 is a legendary console that cemented that Sony has a place in the video game industry and rightfully deserves to be considered a very serious competitor. The PS1 was a sign that Sony was ready to play. The PS2 was a sign that Sony knew what they were fucking doing. During a time where Nintendo released the GameCube of all things, and Xbox, the PS2 destroyed. Demolished the competition, released some of the coolest games of all time for its console. It deserves to be an S tier. It is one of the best. It is the best selling game console of all time for a reason. Last one. Oh, right. God, how could I fucking forget about you? The Earthbound machine. Would it be bad to say that I don't really care about the Super Nintendo? Because I don't really care about the Super Nintendo. The SNES is a legendary console. It has some really great games. It is where a lot of Nintendo series got their start. Pilot Wings, Super Mario World, fucking Earthbound, dude. Earthbound's one of the coolest RPGs of all time, even if I found it really frustrating in the beginning. Yeah, exactly. It is the Earthbound machine. Really? My controllers are dying already? Goddamn. Well, to be fair, they didn't charge last night. Fucking thank you to the slightly unseated USB port. The Mortal Kombat ports, I think, are the best ports for Super Nintendo. This was the way to play fighting games at home. If you weren't going to get a fucking Neo Geo and you weren't going to get the 6-button controller for the Sega Genesis because they didn't release that until like a couple of years down the line. Donkey Kong Country, Yoshi's Island. What else did this have? This had a lot of really good games. That's okay. Genesis had Blood, true. Yeah. Raven, there were ports of Mortal Kombat 1, 2, and 3 for the Super Nintendo. The first one just didn't have blood. 2 and 3 had blood. What other Super Nintendo games do I have? Star Fox. Okay, Star Fox. I just never crack out my Super Nintendo. I don't really, like, pay a lot of attention to my Super Nintendo. And it just... It's good. It's really good. It's a really good console. I don't like the controller. The controller kind of sucks. The revised version of this, it's okay. I love this design. I gotta say, this is a super robust design. This, in my opinion, looks even better. Even though it is less iconic, it looks better than the NES. I love these switches. They're so clicky. I love the eject button. 2 controller ports is kind of pathetic, but then again, all video game consoles had that. Maybe heavily censored because of Nintendo. Yeah, for Mortal Kombat 1 it was. Chrono Trigger, fucking, yeah, Chrono Trigger. Golden Sun? Was that Super Nintendo? Final Fantasy 3. Final Fantasy 3, dude. Pokemon Puzzle. No, Pokemon Puzzle League? Question mark? That was GBA. That was GBA. Excuse me. Trying to see what other games I have for Super Nintendo. It's not as iconic as it, but it has so many more better games. I gotta put it in A tier. And there we go. I'm probably gonna get so many fucking hate comments because I put someone's favorite console in a lower tier or someone's least favorite console in a higher tier. Oh Christ, I'm gonna get some death threats in the comments, aren't I? Well, all that being said, I think that's a great place to end it because we've been going at this for 3.5 fucking hours, almost 4. Jesus Christ, I don't even know if I'm gonna get it back on VR tonight. I have to go to the doctor tomorrow. Well, I do want to say, however, with all of that being said and done, I want to thank you all so much for watching. If you're subscribed, which if you're not, you should definitely consider doing so. You get a bunch of cool emotes, get to skip the ads, and get to support me directly. If you are subscribed, you know the raid message is Rabbit Raid. If not, you could use, if you're not subscribed, you could use whatever Pog emotes you do have. Tonight, hold on, because I think I know someone who is live who we haven't raided in a hot minute. And I would like to raid. If they're still going. Let's see. God, I'm gonna be my voice is gonna be shot tomorrow for all the talking and all the excitement. Yeah, we're gonna go raid Gobcubus. Gobcubus right now, she is playing Deltarune Chapter 2, not Chapter 3 or 4. Good stream. Well, thank you. I really do appreciate everybody coming by. I said this in the Discord server because I did not have time to make a schedule. This week is really going to be mostly kind of playing it by ear in terms of streams. We might be back for some more Mario and Luigi Partners in Time later this week. Might be doing Fortune Street later this week. It's all up to just whatever. We'll do it when we do it. But again, with all that being said and done, you still never told me if there were too many games. Well, wouldn't you like to know? Wouldn't you like to know? Anyway, again, I want to thank you all. So yeah, exactly. There were too many games. Again, I want to thank you all so much for watching. And until next stream, I will see you all for whatever comes next. See ya. Bye.